You're listening to the Jazz FM and Friends Late Night Show, the only place for hip-hop discussion and general chit-chat.
Jez was like, right, I'm going to ask you some questions on the podcast. And I was like, what?
The tunes you were playing was unbelievable.
For me, he's the greatest of all time for many reasons.
Can you
Why are
answer
you
this
doing
on the
this
spot?
to me? Why are you doing that to me, man?
Sorry, I've lost my cool now. Hello and welcome. This is Gezz FM and Friends. This is the 5th episode in the podcast series. Tonight in the studio I have Drew and Reese with me. I mean, there doesn't have to be any introduction tonight. I don't think anyway.
No.
Straight off the back of the last one.
Okay.
Actually.
Yeah, exactly. Back to back.
Yeah, back to back.
Which is actually quite ironic for the theme we're doing tonight, right?
It is actually, very clever. Very clever.
So I mean, do one of you boys want to introduce what we're doing tonight?
Go on, Reese, I'll let you, mate.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna do this moving forward, hopefully every 4 weeks, kind of like an artist spotlight. So we wanted to just start with a big one. The fact that only really us three were available tonight, it's one that we all know a lot about, and it's Drizzy Drake. So we're gonna do, yeah.
Champagne Pappy,
superstar, pop star,
whatever alter ego you want to go by
Whatever.
at any given time.
you know,
I mean, he's
The
just
boy.
biggest artist in the world, maybe.
Yeah, well, he is the biggest artist in the world.
Yeah, it's fact.
He's smashed all
Big
the
facts.
records. You know, he's the man from Toronto. Brought up the Six. I've done my research about him, but yeah, I mean, that's who we'll be talking about tonight.
Been doing research on him for the last
10
years.
My Drake research now is fucking ridiculous. But I mean, Drake's sound has, with Noah 40, has been the soundtrack to probably the last 10 years of my life.
For a lot of people's lives, I
You
think.
know?
I mean, yeah, for a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, for sure. I think we said in the last one that he's probably my most listened to artist, for sure, since Eminem, and probably, to be honest with you, like most listened to ever now. But yeah, he's just the biggest guy in the world, and everything he touches just
Midas touch
works.
Yeah, I've said before, like, I mean, obviously you have, for anyone who don't know, it's him and Noah, so 40, and then you have also his manager Oliver. So
Yeah, that's right, Oliver El Khatib.
Yeah, so they're the three who founded OVO Sound.
Yeah.
So I think just to kick it
And
off,
then you have, I think, I don't know if it's his other, who's Future the Prince. He's like one of his other managers or
and
DJs.
Then he's got a couple of type. He's got like
But OVO's like 30 people strong.
Oh yeah,
Total.
of course.
Like,
It's a big crew.
like, it's massive.
Boy Wonder, obviously, he's
Yeah.
always with him.
Yeah.
There's another guy called Gadget who's like the mixer.
Is Boy Wonder actually part of OVO? Because I know that obviously he's collaborated with him a lot of times, but I didn't know he was actually.
Yeah, from what I know, he's
Okay.
he's set in stone in OVO.
Nice.
Hey, Boy Wonder's such a good producer.
Oh,
Yeah,
ridiculous.
obviously
Such a good
he
producer.
done the
For long-
mixtape. If you're reading this, it's
Yeah,
too late.
yeah.
And that's probably one of my favourite mixtapes.
Well, when we heard, because we both spoke recently, you know about Kevin Durant's new podcast.
Yeah.
Don't listen to it instead of this, but yeah, he had Noah. He's only done like 2 eps, and the second one was 40.
Oh, okay.
And crazy. Just talking about how pretty much the only other person he trusts was Boy Wonder for a very, very long time.
Okay.
And he will only go to him at very, very specific times when 40 stands up and says, "Do you know what? This isn't like for me." Basically,
I need someone else's hand in this.
Yeah.
But like I say, that podcast with Kevin Durant is actually, I thought it was class.
Like, but really weird. I don't know what I was expecting, but he didn't sound like I expected him to
I
sound.
know, it's like
I expected him to be quite chilled, laid back, but he was like real talkative, wasn't he?
yeah, like I think he's quite elusive. You don't really hear much about him. And like for anyone who doesn't know, the reason why he's called 40 is because it's a nickname from 40 Days and 40 Nights, because that's how much work he was putting in the studio. And so it kind of 40 first began working with Drake as an engineer, and then it's kind of that So Far Gone mixtape. They was looking for this sound. And they're not.
Admittedly, I didn't really know what they were looking for.
Yeah, they didn't. They said they was going through so many beats, and then Noah said basically, it was like the last one. He was like, "Fuck, I think we found it." And then it was like from there they put their trust in each other, and then obviously now Noah doesn't work with anyone else.
Yeah, and they asked him that question, and
Yeah.
his answer was really interesting. He was just like, probably one day I will do it, and there'll be a time where I feel like I need to do it. But right now, like, it's so organic what they've grown.
Yeah, well,
like,
I need to
they go to the studio, they know what they do.
Yeah.
And he said, like, at times you can imagine working with a new artist as a producer. It might be quite awkward. You don't know whether they'd rather write and then you make something to the bars, or the other way around. You don't know what their style is. You might not have any chemistry at first. And he was like, look, I've got an easy job. Like, I'm working with...
And it's all that,
the
but then
biggest artists
jumping
in the
from
world.
one person to another person to another person to another person.
Yeah.
You just don't want to ruin that flow that you got where you know, like you said, organic. You know what you're going to get. You know what you're working towards.
It's a recipe for success. Why would you stop?
Yeah.
It's like winning 5-0 and then suddenly like completely changing your style.
And he said he don't want to give away the sound to no one else.
Yeah.
And he
Which is
also
fair.
said that, you know, it's not all me. Like, literally, Drake is telling me, do this. He's like, he is, you know, involved in producing so heavily. He goes, like, literally, sometimes he'll say, oh, you know, it was like Future spat, he's had Rocky spat Bad Bitches. And he was like, no, turn that into a hook.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, and he was like, I didn't say any of this. It was like, this was him directing me.
He said because he's just a mechanic, or that's how he started.
And
He was
then-
like, a lot of the time I just do what he says.
And then he was like, you know, most of the time, it's like I'm nothing without Drake. So don't, you know, it's just like basically don't get it twisted.
Very humble,
Yeah.
isn't it? Very humble.
Yeah,
Obviously,
he's humble.
obviously that's not true. That's obviously not true. He was a standalone producer just before Drake came back. But yeah, crazy.
So I mean, I've been buzzing for this playlist so much that on the way home, someone nearly crashed into me, right? And then all I could think is not, fuck, my car would have been ruined, or my health. I was like, I'm not going to be able to do the podcast tonight. That's not that's what I thought.
Literally 5 minutes before we started, you're having a fucking glitch with the equipment, with the mics.
Obviously, but
I can see you're stressed, and I can see I can see the temperature rising.
like,
100%.
honestly,
Obviously, you guys have seen Reese looking over the camera. You shouldn't be looking at the camera. This is a podcast, but we're recording this. This is the
What
first
do
one
you
I've
mean,
recorded.
Near.
Like I say,
Near
this
the-
is the first time I've got the 2 cameras, I've got the set. It's been a little stressful setting it up. Like, we've just had a joke about, I've been watching YouTube videos for the last 10, like not 10 minutes, like last week on setups, audio. And if anyone's watching this right now, on YouTube they'll be like, oh, you need this, you need that. I have my camera in my sink.
Yeah.
The camera's in the
You
sink.
know
I'm
what I mean? The
confirmed.
camera's in the sink, isn't
things
it?
you don't see.
I'll post some pictures afterwards.
Yeah, you
of the camera in the
know,
sink.
and like I say, it's kind of, I'm going to be honest, I've been stressing a little bit before we started.
I can't, mate. I
So
can't.
I can't wait just to have a couple of JDs, listen to the song, and then just have a good time.
It is what it is, man.
Got the
We're
backdrop.
talking
Got the
about.
backdrop,
Cups.
got the
This is
cups.
the first time I'm using the cups.
Like
Lovely.
This is the set, you know.
It's not often there won't be another time, really. I would say, no matter how many of these artist spotlights we do now from now on, there won't be another time where you get 3 people who agree on an artist for such a long time. Again,
Yeah.
this will probably be the one where it's like we're just all super fans. He's like he's been a lot of people's favourite artist for the last 10 years, and that's why he's
And you can
the
tell with
biggest.
all the records you smash, you know.
Ridiculous, like obviously in the era of streaming, but he's just like he doesn't miss. He just doesn't.
You know, 5% of Canada's kind of tourism is from Drake.
That's insane.
That is a
from
joke.
what you
insane.
said about when you went there, and I know we talked about it a little bit last time.
5%.
It was he's like a deity. He's like revered.
Like I say, everywhere plays him, everywhere loves him.
Mad.
You know, they all just. He runs a 6.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But like, there's no other way to put it. He
Yeah.
runs the 6.
And you can't really. There's not really. You can't really say that about anywhere else.
Yeah,
Like
like-
no, we don't have anyone quite that strong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Over here.
Oh yeah, the hold over a whole bloody city.
See.
Yeah.
And then especially where.
Stormzy would probably be the closest you would come.
Yeah,
at the
but we're
moment,
small
but
compared to
that's-
bloody
Yeah,
Toronto.
yeah.
Fucking hell.
Well, in terms of size,
Yeah.
but yeah, I know what you're saying.
Population,
mass and just-
population not.
Yeah.
But but also he's bringing up new artists. Obviously, with OVO Sound, you have Division, Roy
Oh,
Woods,
mate, I'm
and
a big
even
fan.
like my go-to. Like I said, my go-to is Drake and OVO Sound. It's literally the sound I fucking love. And you know, like Noah talks about it a lot in that podcast. He's like, this was so new. It's like it's a fucked up, distorted. It's like he says that I put Drake on a top level, and then kind of the beat and the bass is on a lower level.
Yeah. You just basically make him, because the big similarity that he has with Eminem, which is one of the reasons why I like, he's very clear. You can hear his diction is perfect. You can hear every word he says. I think actually his Canadian accent plays quite well into that. It actually is an advantage there because with a lot of let's say Southern rappers, it's the same thing that people would say about someone like Dizzy Rascal. They'll automatically switch off because they can't quite.
They got twang to their voice that they can't pick up.
It's funny. Talking on that note, they showed. I think Charlie Sloth showed Charlemagne the God 3 Fire in the Booths, and he said, I think he showed him Kano, Wretch 3-2s, and I forget the third one. Kano's was amazing, but he said I just couldn't pick up what he was saying. Wretch 3-2, perfect. So going back to Drake, it's his diction is another reason why he appeals to such a mass market, because it's just understandable.
Yeah. Easy. It's just easy to listen. It's easy to listen to.
So your point was about 40s beats, because he said I basically want to strip everything back and just make, because his voice is can be used as an instrument, right? He's one of those artists where his voice is an instrument. I don't know that's the case anyway with a voice, but it must be a dream being a producer and being able to just hear him hit a note and just go, let me just cut that out, chop that up, turn that into part of the beat in the background, part of the melody or whatever. And you could just do that with him endless times.
Another point is, Noah was saying, I don't want to work for anyone else, because I go in the studio with Drake, and he goes, it's actually a pleasure to listen to him for hours and hours and hours. He goes, with other artists, that won't be the case.
It might grind on you. Someone a bit heavier, someone a bit straight down the line.
Yeah, and like I say, that kind of brings it back to that point. But obviously, saying about kind of Noah and the OVO sound, it's like that. They wanted to depict this Toronto feel, cold, dark, and they, kind of grimy, and he's known for the underwater drums. That's what they call it.
Yeah, watery drums. Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, watery drums.
That guy kept referring to it. I can't remember his name.
And then it's I always think it's an empty but minimalistic beat.
Yeah.
Quite stripped out, and that's I didn't realise how much I needed that sound.
And that's going to change as well. So to the point, what we haven't really mentioned is that we're only doing part 1 today.
Oh yeah, today
we're only doing part 1. So we're going to do the first 4 because it's ridiculous. I went through.
We were
talking about how to decide which tunes to go with. We were like, right, well, let's start by doing a long list of say 4 or 5 songs from each project. So when we got through it, we were just I've got 35 songs here, and I'm struggling to strip them back already. So we're going to do part 1, first 4 albums or first 4 projects, and then go from there. 8 songs.
Yeah,
so still only songs. 2 off of each, which is.
And then also knowing that we're going to chat about him for so long, this is going to be a 10-hour podcast if we wanted to do all the songs we wanted to do.
We did every album.
It would be a Drake series.
Yeah.
Really, for me.
Yeah.
So I think to kick it off, we're 40 minutes in. As always, if you're liking this, share it. Like I say, it's now going to be on YouTube, on Spotify. We now have the songs included in between, which is an absolute game changer for me because of the regulation. Yeah. So I'm buzzing about that. Yeah, it is a better experience.
So good.
It's the way it should be listened to.
Yeah,
for me.
Yeah.
So
no longer do you have to pause the podcast, put the song
listen
on,
to the song, go back.
Obviously, I couldn't do anything about it before because it's copyright. I can play it on the radio, but I can't play it through Spotify.
Literally happened. The news came out 4 days after we finished
and I was having the worst at work, and I was like, no, I'm buzzing. I couldn't wait to get home and edit these 15 hours worth of the podcast we've had already.
Again, I can't tell you this guy's work ethic. Every day, home from work, buzzing to do it, 4 or 5 hours.
I'm going to bed at 12 o'clock at night. I look homeless. I'm going to be honest.
We don't hear from him. The only time we hear from him is when it's time to do the podcast. That's no disrespect.
That's fine.
It's I've been literally every night this week. I've been doing my research. But it's not even that. I've had to learn about camera equipment, audio equipment. I've been watching videos about lighting, and then I'll say that, and then I've got my camera in the sink. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I'm trying my hardest to make it a nice experience.
Hey, mate, this is great.
But it will only get
stepped
better.
up. Exactly. Stepped up. It's only going to get
and the way I see it is,
We've got Gracie knocking about.
Oh, we got Gracie and all. You know, this is the Gezz FM
Gang.
mascot.
Gang, Gracie.
She loves our
we'll
hip
get on
hop.
camera.
Yeah, at one point, you know, we might have to let her out in a bit, but that's the thing. It's obviously got to do this when the house is free, and this is the time.
So back to Drizzy.
Back to Drizzy, yeah. So the first song we're gonna.
Well, first album, maybe.
Okay, well, the first album.
We better talk about the project first.
Yeah, of course. Let's
Obviously, we're not doing. When we say every project, we'll start like I started with Eminem on the last one. We skip Infinity, so we'll skip Drake's early mixtape, straight into So Far Gone. So again, like for me personally, I probably really became a Drake fan on Thank Me Later, and then went back to So Far Gone a little bit. But
I was the other way around.
Even so, yeah. And again, that's probably just comes from a couple of years age gap.
Yeah,
makes perfect sense. But yeah, sorry, let me go back. So yeah, but still, on this project was the first time I ever heard Drake, and it was one of them things where I think at the time rap was getting heavier. It was arguably getting heavier, and R&B was kind of still about in its own nutshell, and no one had really properly melded the two. I don't want to talk about that too much because that's what everyone knows that about Drake. He's like one of the pioneers of doing that, right? But yeah, when I first heard Best I Ever Had, which is not the first song we're going to play, but it is on there. Or we could do that first. I guess it already.
Spoiler
I think we should do it first.
We could do that first.
Yeah, we'll do it
we might as well
first.
start with that. It makes sense.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, when I heard Best I Ever Had for the first time, I was like, first of all, why do I like this? Because this is not the kind of thing I would normally be into. But he just had one of those voices that you just couldn't ignore at the time. And it was just, you listen to it and you go, if I like this and I don't know why I like this, so many other people are going to be feeling the same way. So many other people are going to be hearing this and going, this sounds good. You don't really know why, but it sounds good. And then
Second thing, who is this?
Yeah, who, man? Like, and why is he?
The first
why
time
is
I
he
heard
not
this song,
from,
I was like,
why is he not from the
who
East
is
Coast?
this?
Why is he not from New York? Why is he not?
Oh, this guy's from Canada.
Yeah, he's a Jewish mixed race Canadian guy, and you're like,
He used to be an actor.
we're starting like basically Canada's Saved by the Bell, from what I know. Or
Who is
whatever
this?
that is?
Who the
Some
hell
sort
is
of drama.
playing this song that sounds like this?
I think I said when I had my things like iPod Shuffle, the one that you couldn't even there's no screen. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
And it would be like, I saw this on iTunes. I was like, 99p. I was like, I'll give it a download. And then I remember I listened to it for about 4 days straight, and I was like, this is unbelievable.
Mate.
Amazing, mate. Didn't fit any of the stereotypes of the current rap scene, but had the ability of like. Yeah, and again, like started just with probably more the singing stuff.
That's what I love. That's the vibes. But when I first heard it, I was like, I said to my because I always normally provide kind of artists to my cousin and stuff like that. And I was like, no, this guy is going to be huge. I called it straight away. I was like, he's going to be massive. And I know, like Luke Norris, he knew of the album of a similar time.
Yeah.
And then we used to say how fucking decent he was.
Yeah.
He had everything, and then I kind of think that I always pick someone up a little bit before the trend.
Yeah, you like doing that, don't you?
Yeah,
scouring the.
I feel like I can just tell, and I was like, he's going to be huge, you know. Especially
were
when
you a Wayne fan though? Because for me,
No, I weren't.
I feel like probably people who were maybe Wayne fans might have maybe like beat the curve.
Yeah, I guess they would have slightly.
And that's not me. I'm not really. I like Lil Wayne. I like some of his stuff, but I wouldn't say I'm a massive Wayne fan.
it weren't. But I like Lil Wayne, but at the time, I wouldn't have been heavily listening to him. I think I kind of got these. It was like a bit of a Usher R&B vibe with the singing, and then obviously Biggie. He was like a bit of rapping. I thought. And then, like I say, it was just something I've never heard before.
It's fresh,
And there was,
right? I think
but there was
fresh.
nothing really. The beauty of it was there was nothing really that complicated about what he was doing at that time.
Yeah, it's just why hasn't someone done this
It
before?
wasn't that complicated. It was just but he was like
It's just that
that
sound,
thing.
that
And I think
distortion
the
and the
reason a lot of
style.
people don't like him is that another reason why he blew up. It's just like he's so marketable, right?
Yeah.
Like you look, good looking dude.
Like we just said all that stuff.
Yeah.
Black, Jewish, actor,
Yeah.
all those things that aren't there.
Yeah.
That's what the industry needs.
But
Here's a guy that can do it.
Yeah.
And he is actually good as well.
Beats the stereotypes. Good looking dude.
Yeah.
like voice, like, and I can attest to this. If you don't believe Drake's got a good voice, I've seen him live, no auto tune, mad, sick voice.
But then you got to understand, like Drake says, one of the things to be respected in the game was, I'm Canadian and I'm Jewish. Yeah. It doesn't help.
Nah.
So he said it was actually quite difficult for people to take me seriously. He was like,
mate,
the record label was like, oh, so you got a mixed race Jewish Canadian guy who can rap and sing, and I was like, nah, it's like we're all good.
But that's part of what worked in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Like someone took that punt, didn't they? Or
well, mate, for me, it's a crazy thing with Drake. He's been, although he's like so widely liked, anyone who's that widely liked is going to be also very widely hated as well, right?
Yeah.
So
that comes with
it. And again, Noel mentioned this on a podcast, and he said he's had to fight against every stereotype, every like, oh, you got no content because you brought up in a semi privileged situation. You're not from like the hood. You're not. You don't have substance to write about. You're not this. You're not that. He's had all of that his entire career. Doubt, hate, rah. Still bigger than anyone on the planet times 2. So imagine if he didn't have those stereotypes. He would be even bigger.
But like I say, he doesn't really rap about taking drugs, does he?
No.
Like he doesn't rap about that. Literally,
well.
like
he mentions it.
I know so part of So Far Gone.
He raps about smoking weed quite a lot.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, there is that. But with So Far Gone, it was basically the manager Oliver was like, all these rappers like talking about disrespecting
money,
women,
cars.
Yeah, and he said like, basically, do we want to be the people that our mothers have divorced? And then that's he was like, let's maybe change up the tone a little bit, because obviously Drake talks a lot about kind of heartbreak,
emotion,
the girls that he should have been with.
Definitely the earlier stuff.
Yeah,
anyway.
the earlier
things
stuff.
Things that a lot of rappers don't. It would be traditionally soft to talk about. I guess that's what you're saying, and maybe that's why a lot more people connect with him than connect with typical rappers.
Because he's not saying like.
He's not just reaching the rapping audience; he's reaching everyone else as well.
And again,
and
obviously,
females,
as we know, massive female audience, which is difficult for rappers,
young females,
to engage with.
I mean, so just to give a bit of insight. So obviously on So Far Gone, we have artists such as Omarion, Lloyd, Lil Wayne, producers 40 and Boy Wonder. Yeah, we've kind of said that
three big R&B features there, which shows that the album was more leaning that way.
Who's on?
The thing is, though, obviously there's stuff like Successful with Trey songs.
Successful is I've heard them both say Successful is the song they made where they knew something special was happening. It was like, this is where we know we've got a sound that is.
Quick story about Successful. While I was in college doing my business degree foundation course, we had to present just do a presentation maybe about something to do with business. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, this one girl that was in our class, she would just come in, big gold hoop earrings, cleavage out, like
bigger the hoop, bigger the
big.
That's not
it.
Yeah.
And forgot we're on camera. No, and on her presentation, I don't know if you used to remember, you used to be able to put like little clips in there and have a little sound bite.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And she set her sound bite as Drake and Trey Songz Successful.
Sick.
And had it play when she walked up to do the presentation.
I love that.
And it was quality. Yeah. It was so good.
Really like big at the time as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mad.
But as I was saying, like we have Trey Songz on it. I love Successful.
Do you know what's hilarious? What song is it where he says? Maybe it's a later album. I think she might have actually. I think it might be on Nothing Was the Same. But he says, and she said, "I'll never be as big as Trey Songz."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I was just wondering if it was on the same album.
Comeback season before this, that mixtape. Just quickly on mixtapes, Trey Songz was on there heavily.
He's a massive Trey fan.
Replacement Girl. Yeah. Oh my god, can that just get a shout out?
Like Drake said that the people I liked was. He said a big influence was 50 Cent 21 Questions.
Yeah.
He was like, you got this dude. Singing it, he was like, that hit me hard. I was like, I can do that.
Yeah,
and that's what
I'm a lot better at it.
And then he like, trying to think of the couple other tracks. He said Kanye, 808s. He said that was an influence because you got these guys that shouldn't be singing. Yeah. He goes, then I ran with it. You know, and I probably took it further than anyone else has done.
That's it. He's taken it and run with it. That's exactly it. He hasn't thought, oh no, this isn't working.
Again, just sonically.
And if anything, he's pushed himself to go and sound or do other sounds.
He has, and do you know what? Because this is not on the list, and I think the most evident example of that recently is that Grease tune that he did on for Khaled. And I know you weren't a big fan of that, and you said the sound was weird. I think personally, in a year or two's time, you're going to listen to that track again, and you're going to like it.
Yeah, it might.
And it's one of them things where he hasn't. We've become so accustomed to what Drake's voice sounds like for quite a long time now. He's got something different.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, the first time I heard it, I was like, "This is bullshit." It sounds like he's intentionally done it on like a poor quality microphone. And then I listened to it again, and I was like, "This just sounds like an R&B track. It's like poorly recorded. This is sick."
Yeah.
But do you know what? There's so much. There's so much to speak about.
We've got.
What I'll probably say is we're going to play the next track. So, Faris, you can introduce it because also we've got to let the dog out.
Just quickly, we've got to let the dog out.
I'm going to be honest.
But who directed the Best I Ever Had video? Obviously, we all know about the video. On the basketball court, girls coming out, so fit. Kanye West.
Kanye West.
Kanye West directed that video.
Yeah, cool.
So.
All right.
Yeah, I think definitely let's start with that one.
So coming up on Gezz FM and friends, obviously we have Drew, we have Reese. This is the 5th podcast, which I'm buzzing about. It's the first one which is being filmed.
Yep.
Today we have, the theme is Drake, so we're going to speak everything probably Drake, OVO, features, and all that lot. I mean, if you're enjoying it, like, share, tweet.
These things.
Oh, and then
all these things now.
Basically
follow the socials.
Everything behind here. Yeah, no, you're right.
All socials.
Coming up next we have Drake, So Far Gone, and the song of
Best I Ever Had.
Best I Ever Had.
Best I Ever Had.
Enjoy.
You're listening to the Gezz FM and Friends Late Night Show.
Hello and welcome back. This is Gezz FM and Friends. We have Drew and Reese in the studio.
Yep.
Well, it's a bit more of a studio now anyway, isn't it really?
Yeah, it feels more like a studio.
It's looking real good.
Happily.
So tonight's theme is Drake. So we've just had the album mixtape So Far Gone.
Yep.
With Best I Ever Had.
We're still on it.
So I hope you enjoyed the song because obviously on Spotify you're now going to be able to hear it.
Oh yeah.
So which
you
has
need
been
to be able to hear it.
Life changer for me anyway. So I think as we was talking about like the sound that Noah and Drake has been creating. It's that dark, distorted, quite fucked up, minimalistic, empty.
Do you know what I found interesting about what he said about his process as well was that he didn't really know what he was doing and he wasn't traditional. Like he said, he wasn't really he was kind of later on when he worked with other producers and they kind of said to him like, what are you doing? Like, this is such a fucked up way of working. Like, how are you working in this order of throwing these sounds around and then putting them together like this?
Because he basically said
to himself, didn't he?
I can't someone's like make this and he's like, I don't know how to make it because I literally do something, fuck it up so much, and then fuck it up again, then fuck it up again. He goes somehow it just comes like that. He goes, someone can't ask me to create a certain kind of feel in a beat because it doesn't work that way. Yeah. And like I said, he works all back to front. He says that he doesn't consume music at the moment. Yeah,
that's weird, isn't it? Well, he said he listens to it's so weird. It's like the opposite of what most people do. He said he only listens to like the radio, so he hears like what's being played now.
Because he said like obviously
to albums.
He's in the studio
that's
all
where
day.
It wants to be played, then isn't that what you'd do? But you would do that, wouldn't you? If you want your music to be being played on the radio for the masses to hear,
but then you could say, but he said Drake doesn't do that. He said Drake himself listens to. He's like a connoisseur of music. He'll listen to entire albums and projects.
Maybe,
So it's not. I don't think it's necessarily that. I don't know why. I can't remember why.
Literally, Noel was saying I couldn't tell you kind of the albums. He goes, I haven't listened to a full album in like 10 years. He goes, I literally skim through it. And then he said that
is mad.
Like,
crazy, isn't it?
He said when I get in the car, obviously he's been in the studio all day listening to probably the best songs being made at the time, and he's like, I just want a bit of talk time on the radio. Like he just says like, I like listening.
You two both know I like listening to the radio every now and then. So I like that split of just a little bit of chit and chatting here and there, and then the music comes in.
Of
stuff
course,
like that.
and it's so easy to just turn off.
Exactly.
I think with and do you know what? One thing I will say about that as well is he said, I can't remember what song they were talking about. You might remember, but he said we always had a moment where we would drive across a certain bridge into the city, into Toronto. And he said when we listened, we wouldn't know if a song was going to hit properly until we did that drive and listened to it.
That's like the ritual, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And he said once we did that drive, we would know whether it was the one.
I guess that kind of links into the theme of they wanted to, you know, portray this music of Toronto and the city.
Yeah.
So the only way that you're going to know if it represents a city is if you get in your motor, you have a drive, and you know you're going through the city.
Yeah. And what you said before about the fact that when you went there, he's just revered as like a god. They set out with that intention.
Oh yeah, of course.
So what better way can you? How more confident can you be that you've achieved your goal that you originally set out to achieve?
Well, it's like Drake was saying, is the basketball player Carter. I don't know my basketball. Vince Carter. Yeah. So he was saying like, before Toronto weren't really on the map, people would come back with like a New York accent, and then that would be a way to fit in.
Yeah,
it weren't
people used to do it here.
Yeah,
people used to do it here.
Yeah.
Like when UK music used to be rapped in an American accent.
Yeah,
he was like, it weren't cool to be from Toronto, but like I say, he goes, all I wanted to do is put my city on the map, and he's done that.
He's
like
done that,
now he's ambassador for the Raptors.
Yeah.
And you know he's throwing.
Well, he had Golden State like train at his house.
Oh really?
Yeah, Golden State were like training at his house. He raps about it.
His house is mad, isn't it?
Yeah, the 100 million. It's called Embassy, isn't it?
It's on Summer 16. He says, Golden State running practice at my house. What am I about?
Like he's got the key to the city, and like I say, what he's done for Toronto, especially like the little things I've looked into. The artwork for Nothing Was the Same. It's a Toronto artist.
Okay.
Like the people he's got in the studio with him, I said that Gadget.
Oh mate, his crew.
And that Les, Toronto based.
His crew is like you seen the series Entourage? You ever watched it?
No.
Chase,
Entourage,
etc. Yeah, sick, based on Mark Wahlberg. But the idea is that he basically keeps his brother, his best mate, like his crew, as he becomes this world famous actor. He keeps his tight friends.
Same as that Entourage question you were asking. Like we all picked.
Boys
and that's
Drake took that to the extreme and just did it.
Exactly.
Just employed his best mate as his manager.
Started from the bottom, now we're here, right?
Yeah, that's it.
So I love Best I Ever Had. It's such a great. It's like I say, it's been the soundtrack for the last 10 years, and that's what started me on this kind of path of Ogo sound.
And you can still listen to it now. You just listen to it, and it still sounds fresh, still sounds new.
I've loved this last week, right? Because I've just had Drake in rotation,
going
going from back to front. You know, literally every song, every album, thinking what is me. You know, what do I like the most? But it's even, you know, when we mentioned about, you know, should Drake have made it because Jewish, Canadian?
Yeah.
Like Lupe's got the story where someone handed him a mixtape and he goes, Drake. He's like, what kind of rapper name is Drake? And then, you know, years later he's like, oh yeah, that's a rapper name. You know what I mean?
Jokes,
he's like the biggest star on the planet.
Lupe's got a new podcast out with Royce the 5'9". I'm actually going to give that a listen.
I mean,
I'd be interested if he brings that up. That would be
so. But you know, from the obviously, well, we haven't.
I was just just trying to look because obviously our next song is off this mixtape as well. But yes, I was just.
The last thing I was going to say, really, before I guess we could introduce a song.
No, go for it, man.
Lil Wayne and Drake have this huge connection. So basically, Lil Wayne found Drake, didn't he?
Yeah, you know the story of how they met.
So I don't know.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah, go on and go for it.
No, that's on me.
Well,
you, bro.
Well, I know the story where Drake was like, I got flew out to Atlanta. I went on a coach. That one.
Yeah.
So he walks into this big tour bus, and Lil Wayne's kind of leaning over. This tattoo artist is like, you know, doing his stuff, and it's just blood pouring out.
That's right.
And he's like, the whole time he's like, fuck, should I be here? You know, he's kind of like doubting himself.
Yeah, of course, and because he's not from that, like, Wayne's from the streets.
Yeah.
Proper.
And then, you know, he's kind of like, but this is what he talks about in his early songs. He talks about, am I good enough? Am I going to be successful? Trey songs.
Yeah.
You know, he has these, he wants to make it, but there's doubts and insecurities. Then obviously in that story, he says like, he's watching Wayne get a tattoo. Next thing you know, you got Kobe walk on the bus, and then Wayne gives him the iPod with the latest album on, and he's just like, what like, what is this world?
Yeah,
What is this world I just
into?
entered into? And he said, like, so basically, when he was kind of rocking around with that crew, Lil Wayne, he said, lives like an absolute prince. So he's in this hotel, 40 rooms.
Yeah.
You know, chef.
Well, he's got Cash Money Birdman looking after him.
Yeah, I remember I know the story you're talking about. He said he would just because he was always on the move, because involved in various things that were not necessarily legal. He would not always stay at like a residence, even though he owned like property. So yeah, I know what you're talking about. He said he hired out literally, because he did it on the, I can't remember what interview it was, where he built his new house recently. And Rat Radar interview. Sick interview.
Yeah,
so
great.
And that house, by the way, is fucking ridiculous. But yeah, he said he just hired out an entire...
He said 40 rooms, and he said like,
You're not talking a shabby hotel.
no, I think yeah, it was like, it was a 5-star hotel, obviously. And then he said, like, he goes, I've walked into this, I've never seen anything like it. And also, because this is where he talked about the commitment to the game and, you know, the art. And he said he would be smashing out these songs back to back with ease.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, 3 months down the line, they're all being released.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He said, I've never seen someone with such a work ethic. And also he says that he taught me a lot about kind of the techniques and how you should craft
songs, and
the writings and stuff like that.
The process.
And then what I love about Drake personally is he'll say something, like for example, he said recently, I don't need a banger with, for example, like a R&B artist now, like Alicia Keys. He goes, no disrespect for her, because obviously he's got the song Fireworks. He goes, I don't need that anymore. But Drake always defends himself. He doesn't want to start beef now, it seems. Maybe it's because he's a little bit too big.
To be honest with you, I don't think, if you look back at all the beefs that he's had, it's only been a couple. It's always coming his way. When you're at the top, you're always going to receive the most shots.
But like I say, so that second part of him's like kind of defending every comment he makes in that Rap Radar, he's defending himself. Like, but you know, I have love for him.
Which is that is a sad position to be in, because you almost feel like he's living with a little bit of paranoia. Like, yeah.
You know, but again, with the Lil Wayne, he's like, I can't explain how much love I have for him, taking me under the wing. And you know, he said like, I was with a load of OGs. You know, he said they looked after me, but obviously they got return on investment. So it worked for everyone involved.
For sure. And do you know, I think that probably was a lot for him. I think that probably served him well moving forward, because nowadays when you look at his crew, he's not from the streets, but he has people around him who are like real G's, if you like. Like his bodyguard, that backer guy, is no joke. Like that guy, it's the real deal.
I know there was during my research, one of the things that came up was how I think a bodyguard broke someone's nose and he was, you know, legal dispute and all stuff like that. But I guess you got to have the right people. I said the question is, you know, on Gezz FM, of who would be in your entourage. You know,
his
who would be the
bodyguard,
heavy?
that guy Backer is so funny, right? Well, this one particular moment was funny. I was one of the guys that was silly enough to pay, like, I think it was 110 to go see him at O2. I thought, you know what, I might never get to do it again. And I was a bit upset with the set list, if I'm honest. Like, the show itself, unbelievable. Right, and the money you put in definitely gets used on the production in the show. It was fucking stupid, some of the stuff that was happening. Had a fucking Ferrari flying around the crowd at one point.
Mad.
What the fuck's going on? Mental. But yeah, he had Backer supporting him, and he had Tory Lanez supporting him. Tory Lanez is very good, by the way, just side note, like, good singer as well. But Backer, I don't support or endorse what the fuck he's doing at the moment, but yeah, this Backer guy supported him as well, and then literally later on, he was doing No Long Talk, and it starts with like Backer, he's a no long talker, and literally we could just smell weed, ridiculous stench, and we're kind of like standing so close, but at the back of standing, so we've got a good view of the stage still. Turn around and he's just kind of in like the fencing bit, just with the honestly, it was hilarious, and he's just like, yeah, look, that's my guy.
But yeah, I mean,
fantastic.
like I say, the crew's rocking with, but it seems to be doing well, because he always, you know, says I've got love for Noah. You know, me and him got this partnership. Obviously, Oliver, he's always bigging up, saying, yeah, there's 2 of us in the studio. Noah, I'll say 3, and Boy Wonder, but Oliver, he's always pushing us and making us. It seems like he's got a good family.
He's the businessman, right? He
Yeah.
seems like the one who wants to make something. Because obviously they're big music people, right? Him and 40 are just about music.
Yeah, so let them do that, and
Yeah.
I'll sort out all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so arguably a lot of the stuff people hate about Drake and the fact he's so mainstream and so, yeah, it's probably like a lot of Oliver's doing, really, and it's just, that's fine. That's a good, they all want that.
I guess it's kind of the argument of...
It's your PR guy, though. But I'm not saying, it sounded like I was saying that like it's a bad thing. It's not.
I think whenever something
without it, he wouldn't
becomes
Yeah.
like a sub-genre and is like a huge success, people gravitate towards it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's only natural for, like I say, it's kind of the birth of hip-hop's sub-genre now, probably the biggest genre in music, right?
Well,
for
mate,
$1 billion.
exactly. That's why black culture is popular culture.
Exactly. So it's kind of like, I understand what you mean. It's like, I think it's just the level of success they've gone to.
Yeah.
It's now the mainstream.
Keep pushing it, don't you? You just keep pushing on. I've got to this level. I'm going to keep pushing.
But yeah,
See
you're
what I
right.
get.
Horses for courses, right? You got your beat maker, you got your creative man, and then you've got your business head.
Yeah.
Because
And it's perfect.
one story I do love is how when they recorded So Far Gone, you eating the Starburst, yeah?
I'm just
I'm just really conscious of that. Sorry.
So
if
no,
you
I'm
get
going to tell a little story anyway, so you can munch on that. So Far Gone, Noah's basically said how he loves creating little studios. He wants to be in an environment where he feels creative, and he's like, yeah, I want to work, and it's easy for me to work. So he was saying, for So Far Gone, there's a little apartment, like I live in a studio, and then I'm basically, sorry, I was just trying to remember what I was actually going to say there. The JDs are kicked in.
I did make that one a little
Yeah,
bit.
I'm feeling it now.
I put less coke in it. I put less coke in that one.
You know, I saying
this is
before,
his first time.
I was stressed getting the setup going, like
I don't know
the camera in the
what you were doing,
sync, you know, and all this stuff. I was stressed, but now I'm feeling good.
It's Friday, mate.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
do this.
Friday.
Yeah,
So
it's
basically,
got no bedtime.
yeah. So Noah was saying, or 40. Basically, we had the laptop. We had a little made-up studio in this apartment.
Yeah.
And then on the OVO blog, they said all you need to be successful is this camera, this laptop, or like this mic, basically, right? And then they're in London. Some guy comes up to him and says, because of this blog, I went up to my mum and basically said, Mum, this is all I need. This mic, this, you know, this laptop, and you know, this basic equipment.
Yeah.
He's now, I mean, probably one of the biggest artists in the world. Do you know who it is?
No.
Do you know who it is? Travis Scott.
Yeah.
How mental is that? So from that blog, came up to, and Noah said, like, in London he bumped into me. He was like, you do know that blog has changed my life. Because I went up to my mum and was like, Mum, this is what I need. Like, I don't need anything else to be successful. And I just think that is a class story.
Yeah, it is mad.
You know?
I did not know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Well, what's his next song then?
So,
Well, yeah, we should probably push on to that.
let's
So we're
go
going to
for
do
it.
Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. That was the way we did this, just so everyone's kind of aware,
Mm.
because it was really difficult. We all kind of did our own separate long list, and then we kind of came to a conclusion about which 2 we were going to pick from each album. So
I mean,
Houston, Atlanta,
from the
Vegas was
first
second
4
choice.
albums, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
thing.
from the first album, so from the first 4. So we got
Yeah.
first 2 best I ever had in Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. And with this one, I don't know. Again, this was probably my favourite off of the album. Best I Ever Had was like the first song I heard and the first proper time I listened to Drake and thought, what is this? Houston, Atlanta, Vegas was one that this probably ended up being my favourite off of the album. And I can't profess to know the real background behind the song. You probably know more, but I know that Drake has a big history of love for the strip clubs.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And he loves the fat batty. That's what he's all about.
Just build.
Build. Let's splash that.
exactly, yeah.
And yeah, man, he loves it, man. He's just he appreciates women.
Yeah, and then I think one of the things that when I heard this song, and it's like going, you know, it's got the empty,
Yeah.
the kind of like the underwater drums, you know, the watery drums beat, minimalistic. But the one thing that I thought was so fucking unique is this is going to sound ridiculous. I don't know if this is because I'm drunk now, but just combining Houston, Atlanta, and Vegas in one. I was like,
what three better places to go to?
I was like, this isn't like I said.
But he's got a big love for Houston
now. I sound. No one else has done this. And it fits so
You are one of the biggest fangirls.
Gezz,
I love it. It's fine.
Is that
It's fine. I'm so glad that people can see your face now.
I think it's probably easier to do than you think.
Is it? Oh.
But but you know what it is, Gezz? It's another example of something that if anyone else did it, it would probably be stupid.
Oh,
but because Drake did it, it sounds good and it works.
Yeah. Because also, you know
but he has genuine. It's not just random, innit? He has genuine love for those.
Oh no,
yeah. He talks about Houston and the South all the time.
Obviously,
the influences.
They are big cities for strippers.
Yeah, massively.
Because I know there's a stat apparently where I've heard this off kind of the grapevine.
More Gezz FM research.
Don't give me no. I've heard this off the Gezz FM grapevine. Like, we've been having people writing in. Jerry, do you know what? I don't know how much I want to drop you in this, but
it's like. When James Harden plays in a city that has high-level strip clubs, apparently he plays worse.
Really?
That's what I've heard.
No.
But yeah, that
James
must be some
Harden,
sort of
did you
correlation.
James Harden, yeah. And then
that's so funny.
actually, this thing, I'm a bit drunk now, boys. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't had dinner or anything.
Gezz, let me ask you one single question for the podcast. I won't drop you in it. I'll ask you the question. No, you can answer this. No, because you can answer this however you please.
Yeah.
How much do you enjoy strippers?
It's a nice experience.
Alright, good. Solid
But do you know what? I don't like
allegedly.
strip clubs. The one thing I like about strip clubs is the music.
I mean,
Genuinely, that's my favourite thing about strip clubs.
Yeah, and again,
Actually,
although you say like that is the thing you always say, like the choice of music, you can't go into a bar or a club these days in England
and have that kind of music playing. No,
it's sick.
This is gonna proper incriminate me. I mean. I've always said, right, strip clubs play the best music.
They play the best music.
They do play good music. Right?
And you can just sit there, chill, have a beer. There's in some strip clubs there's pressure.
Yeah.
But if you go to a good strip club, a nice strip club, you're just there having a beer, listening to music, watching. I remember where was I? I went to one strip club. I think it might have been in Prague, maybe, and. We were in there.
For classy strip clubs.
No, it wasn't. But this one's quite. I've been to. Side note: I've been to Tootsie's in Miami.
Second floor, Tootsie's getting shoulder rubs.
That's that at a different fucking level, mate. That strip club was unreal. Never seen anything like it. It was a nightclub and like almost a casino, and it had that whole kind of vibe about it, and it was unreal.
Is it open now?
I'll get a plane straight there. Tootsie's is quality and best chicken wings. One of the best chicken wings I've ever had.
Oh come on!
The food in there was amazing.
My language as well.
The food in there was amazing. But yeah, back to this other strip club. I was in there chilling. I remember drinking a beer, and the weekend Wicked Games came on.
I've had some experiences with that song.
I was just like, whoa! Like this song was made for this moment, and I'm here in this moment. And it was mad. They played the best music. But why are we talking about strip clubs?
Boys, we got to play because Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. So we're gonna play. I've got to keep you under control.
Yeah.
Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. We're gonna play it because we're only on song 2 out of 8. So we're gonna go.
Of course, no. We're gonna jump in, but I do have one more thing to say.
Oh, please.
So basically, cool. I was speaking to Rob at the weekend, right?
Yeah.
Because we went on a little boys' weekend away.
Yeah.
And then,
nice.
Very
like.
Cool.
The distribution of music now, do you know how they can guarantee that a song is going to be a number one? Do you boys know this?
No, go on.
So basically, when a song's released, what they'll do is they'll distribute it to the strip clubs. Yeah?
I remember you saying this over the weekend.
What?
So I know you was there, didn't you?
Yeah, I remember you saying this over the weekend.
I only just remembered Drew was there. Wait. Right. So, so basically... Yeah, so what happens
that was memorable, mate.
Yeah, what they do now is they know if they distribute it to a strip club, nice lady's going to dance to it, and then if it bangs in a strip club, it's probably going to bang over the radio and it's going to stream. So I know kind of one of the I guess business models was to get the song to the strip club, and then let's
so this
let's
isn't
see
necessarily something that's still happening now.
I know
traditionally,
it is. Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, it is. There's I watched a documentary This is turning so
Come on.
much.
Here we
And
go.
of course, this is the first episode we're filming. This is there's I think it's called Kings in Atlanta. It's like world renowned.
Okay.
And then I'm just gonna call him the business development manager. He's not of the strip club, but yeah. He was saying like, yeah, everyone hits us up with the mixtapes and the songs, and and he was basically saying like, look, we'll hear this song 3, 4, 5 months before everyone else, and we can. Usually, it's the guys will go there for a drink, and if it's a banger here, it's gonna go number one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's been a nice little theme into Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, hasn't it?
That was
Yeah, just trying to give the background to the song. Really.
Yeah, no, I think we've done all right.
Drake's love for Big Booty.
I mean,
and our love.
yeah.
Song.
Like the really funny thing is, like before. I was about to say something and you cut me off, and all I can say, right, is basically how you know how
aggression in that. Mad, wasn't it?
How was it?
You didn't clock it.
I
was going to say something. You cut me off.
Yeah, sorry.
It is the Gezz FM and friends.
But
Gezz FM and
you know how I'm a little bit deaf. So sometimes when I listen to songs, it takes me ages to understand what they're actually saying because I'm so deaf. And I swear to God, for I reckon a full 9 months of Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, when he's saying Arslo, I thought he was saying Aslan, and then all I had in my head was the lion, the lion from Narnia, right? I'm not even fucking joking. That's how deaf I am.
Play the song.
But
play the song.
Yeah, coming up now. We have Houston, Atlanta, Vegas.
Yeah, listen out for the Narnia references.
Yeah.
Big up Mr. Tumnus.
Peace and love. I mean, if you're enjoying it.
Aslan.
Yeah, Aslan. That's what I thought you were saying.
Play the song.
Yeah.
Houston out of Vegas.
Yeah. Well, you
Big
can
banging
decide if you think it sounds like that. Maybe
would it sound good in a strip
deaf.
club?
But yeah, share, tweet, like, all that stuff. Do it.
Directly to the camera. Directly to the camera.
Right, I'm breaking the rules, mate. I'm breaking the rules.
In rap, that's called breaking the fourth wall, mate.
Yeah.
Alright?
Yeah, I'm breaking the rules. Can I not do that then?
Of course you can, bro.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
I haven't seen any YouTube videos telling me I can't do that.
Ironically, when this has got 0 views after a week,
But
we're not actually talking to anyone.
Yeah,
So-
okay, yeah, true. Right, but yeah, we're going to play that song, Drake, Houston, Atlanta, Vegas.
Lovely.
Peace and love. We'll be back shortly.
You're listening to the Gezz FM and Friends Late Night Show.
Hello and welcome. We are now live. It is Gezz FM and Friends. It is the 5th podcast.
Live in the studio.
Live in the studio.
In the fresh.
Camera in
flesh.
the
In the fresh!
In the fresh flesh.
So we have Drew, we have Reese.
Yeah.
Tonight's theme, Drake.
Yeah.
Drizzy
So
Drake,
we've played
my boy.
best I ever had. Does that sound right?
That is right.
That is
mate.
correct.
That doesn't sound right in my head. Okay. And Houston, Atlanta, Vegas.
Yeah.
Just
about.
So what we'll do now is
Move on.
are we going on to the next album now?
Moving on to
Oh,
the
yeah,
next
next
project.
album.
Oh,
Thank Me
okay.
Later. So it's a bit of a
Thank Me
crossover, really.
Thank
Because,
Me Later. Yeah. Okay.
with Thank Me Later, there were a few tunes. Well, later on, So Far Gone was never originally released on digital platforms, was it? So that only happened, I think, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, finally got it on there.
Yeah, finally got it on there. And when they put it on there, they put like a really expanded version of it on. Because I think So Far Gone originally didn't have that many tracks on it. And now it's weird because a lot of the tracks that are on So Far Gone are also on Thank Me Later.
Yeah. So basically, what happened is So Far Gone. It was the mixtape that extended it, and then there was the biggest bidding war apparently for Drake at the time.
Yeah.
This is what they've said. Obviously, Drake had that association with Lil Wayne, and then it's the whole he signed with Cash Money, Young Money.
Yeah.
But again, interesting that biggest bidding war for him.
Yeah.
So even from the start, obviously people knew that he was going to kill it. Like we said, probably because the vibe, the looks, just very marketable, right?
Yeah. Exactly that.
So now we got that album out of the way. Obviously, we said about Noah, dark, distorted themes, watery drums.
So Thank Me Later is the first studio album, right? Because So Far Gone's mixtape.
Then basically, Thank Me Later, he said he actually doesn't really like it as an album.
No, I remember him saying because he was he said it was the first time, because obviously we're so far gone, it was before he'd really blown, or it was the one that made him blow. So everything he made on the album was his own,
authentic,
what he wanted to make.
Mm.
Whereas Thank Me Later, and 40 said the same thing, was the first time where they had other voices and they were trying to make music for other people all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And there were certain songs on there where he said they weren't really my songs, like they were made for other people.
Yeah, then like he said, obviously, like he kind of said, first studio album, I came on as like, yeah, I'm going to have a feature with Jeezy, Alicia Keys, you know, and he said like it was just full of features, and he goes, it weren't really me, you know. He was just like, who can I be with? He tried to enter strong into the game, and he said it was very rushed. He said like he didn't enjoy making it really. He said it was just no time on it. He would write a verse and that, and it was done.
Yeah,
and that
he couldn't change it or remake it.
Yeah, because there's no time. They have to get they're on a time limit. They have to get things out quickly.
So this album was. So you're saying this was the first album he made under his YMCMB deal?
I think so.
And
yeah.
that was. Do you know? I think that was like. Was it like a 4-album deal or 5-album deal? Something silly.
The deal stopped when he released If You're Reading This, It's Too Late.
Okay.
So it would have been.
So like 4, 5. So it's 5. No, 5. Yeah, because that came after Where We're Gonna Stop, which is Nothing Is the Same. Yeah. So that's one of my big beefs at the moment, because I actually, and again, I think this is one of the only things that Kanye is talking some sense about right now, is that they get locked in for way too long. And that's 5 albums is silly, especially when you see how much Drake's changed in 5 albums. But yeah, like you say, even though this wasn't an album where he felt like it was one of his best, oh mate,
don't get me wrong.
do you know what I mean? That he doesn't miss, even when it's bad, it's good.
Like I say, I do enjoy the album, just as not as much as other albums.
Yeah,
you know. And I think, just to give a little knowledge drop, I think this was going to be called The Girls Love Drake, and basically there was a little kind of legal dispute.
I'm so glad it wasn't called that, by the way.
No, honestly, so am I. That is a
God.
Yeah, that's a terrible.
That's
a terrible name. That could have changed his whole career.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was going to be called The Girls Love Drake.
I mean, it's true.
And then
but
there was some kind of distribution of some sort under that name. And then because Drake was signed to, you know, the Cash Money, Young Money lot, that there was a little legal dispute, but it got sold very quickly. Very, very quickly.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, on this album you do like intro song, Fireworks, Alicia Keys, right?
yeah.
Again,
like for me, was very close to being chosen on this list.
Yeah, we spoke about that a lot before we made the listing.
Yeah.
So just to let everyone know, it was 2010. Let's have a look. 1.8 million copies. Yeah. Carrying on the theme.
Nice.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have Find Your Love. A lot of comparisons to 808 Heartbreaks.
Yeah.
Kid Cudi, Kanye West kind of feel. But like I say, it's not that because I said to you boys earlier when we was choosing the songs. Then you said, "What about this album?" I said, "I'm not really fussed about any songs on the album.
Yeah.
Because it's not a go-to for mine."
But what I do like, and is worth a mention because it's not a song that we've chosen, is Light Ups on this album.
Yeah.
So that was obviously the start of him and Jay-Z's relationship, which has been interesting because he's had 3 features with Jay-Z now, I think.
He's had a few now.
Yeah.
Pound Cake, Light Up,
and Talk Up.
And then Talk Up and Scorpion.
Yeah. And but didn't he also, Jay-Z was also on Popstar as well, but got cut.
Yeah, there was a version of that, I think.
Yeah, because we'll talk about that on the next one when we do part 2. But I got that was another situation where he had a leak and
yeah,
there were 2 versions, and Kanye was meant to be on that as well.
And like I've said before in the podcast series, you know, album delays with leaks and kind of legal disputes all the time.
And when there's that many people as there are after Drake's music, you can't hide it all. Do you know what I mean? It's impossible. But yeah, so that was the start of their relationship, and I think Jay actually bigs him up very, very much on this track. I can't remember the bars exactly, but really, really hypes him up to be like have longevity. Basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
but like obviously, I know there is I can't think of it off the top of my head. There's a Jay song, isn't there, where he talks about the people involved and who's going to take the crown, and he doesn't mention Drizzy in that. Can any of you
what
think
song
of
is that? I can't remember what song that is.
I'm not a big enough Jay-Z
Not off the top of my head.
It's the JD, man. Honestly, another day I'll remember this hands down. But yeah, like on this album we have Fireworks, Alicia Keys, Over, Show Me a Good Time, great. Nicki Minaj, Up All Night, Fancy, T.I., Swiss Beats, The Dream, Light Up Jay-Z, Miss Me, Lil Wayne, and I think
we can only choose two.
I think
finishing on Thank Me Now as well, by the way.
Yeah, and I was listening to it on the way home, and I was like,
that's brilliant.
Yeah, it was just I'm in the mood for this, you know.
Yeah.
And again, it was kind of like driving home, nearly crashed my car, and I was like,
Don't Drake and drive, boy. Don't Drake and drive.
Don't Drake and drive. Yeah, I was so. One thought is I wouldn't be able to do the podcast tonight. That's all what came into my head, you know.
Dedication.
So what song? What two?
So we've got. So obviously we had to pick two again, and we did it by a consensus. So I guess the one I want to go with first is probably "Show Me a Good Time."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a banger.
It's a banger. Feel good move.
Yeah.
Feel good move. Feel good mood.
Drew's had a couple now.
Yeah, I'll have some drinks.
I'm so happy someone else is fucked up on a speech, honestly.
I'm getting there. It just means that I just slow down, which is bad. Which is great because you guys get more airtime and then make more mistakes,
then,
which is what everyone wants.
On this track, you also have No ID.
Okay, No ID on the beat.
So
unbelievable.
No ID, my mentor. So let the story begin. Like, ridiculous.
In-house producer for
Jay-Z and all them lot.
Yeah,
Rockefeller.
Rock Nation.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable.
But I think let's just cue it right up, right?
Let's play the song.
Yeah,
I feel like there's not even worth going into
Show
story.
Me a Good Time. Party Time. Again, probably one of the ones on the album where he's saying this was made a bit too mainstream, probably made not for me, but again, it still bangs.
Yeah. Okay, do you know what? I know the listeners will probably think we're going to talk about another artist. Or we're going to talk about Kanye West, or we're going to tell a story. But no, we're actually going to play the song
Let's do it,
for the first time ever in Gezz FM and Friends. We're literally going to
say we're going to go to the song and then we're going to go to the song.
Yeah, okay, so coming up now, I mean, all I've got in my head is don't look at the camera, Jerry. Coming up now, we got Drake. Obviously, this is the theme for tonight. It's going to be available on Spotify with the song included. Yep. It's now on YouTube, so you can see our reactions. You can see us getting waved.
And obviously the songs will be tagged. Once we upload on YouTube, songs will be tagged underneath, so you can go and enjoy those.
Just to give everyone a little bit of insight in what I'm going
to do.
Straight to the song. Okay. We are going to go straight to the song, but a little bit of insight. I'm going to do the full podcast in, I guess, a YouTube video.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do like medium content.
So a YouTube video.
Yeah.
That's what the kids call it these days.
Medium content, or maybe like this is from So Far Gone album. This is from Thank Me Later.
Love that.
But then I'm going to do micro content.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Ooh.
of just little
jargon or jargon,
little snippets. You know,
right?
But yeah. I mean, I don't know if you care about this, but I actually do because I spent a lot of time researching.
We will see.
Now people can see the love in your face, and how much hard work you've put in.
I know, yeah.
How much you're enjoying it.
And
talking about renting out rooms so we can record all day.
Oh yeah, mate. We're doing. I've gone considering, like, when I said I'm going to start up a radio station, I had a budget, right?
Yeah.
And then it went radio station, podcast, video podcast. My budget went well out the window.
It's like grand designs.
That's it. Passion, though. Passion, bro. Passion projects.
And then
the
reason why it's happened is because I'm like, I've spent so far. We've had 18 good hours in it, and I've loved every single second of it. So I'm like, do you know what?
Why would I stop?
I am going to buy a 4K camera, and then I'm going to put the 4K camera in the sink. You know, but sorry,
we're taking risks here, people.
Let's get into it. If you're liking it, share, tweet, all that stuff. I'm looking straight at you guys. Okay, it's the JD. All right, got Drake. Show Me a Good Time. Enjoy it. Peace and love.
You're listening to the Gezz FM and Friends Late Night Show.
Hello and welcome back. This is Gezz FM and Friends. We have Drew. We have Reese. It's Drake as the podcast theme for tonight.
Two things before we get into it.
Yeah.
Why were you just throwing gang signs up at the cameras before we started recording? Secondly, where is your schoolboy Q?
Oh,
Where is your schoolboy Q mask?
It's upstairs.
That's what you should be wearing in
It's
this first
upstairs.
episode, I think.
No, because
We could have kept you anonymous. We could have kept you anonymous.
I've
like,
not told you. Basically, like since I've been doing this like radio podcast thing and podcasting, the song that I listen to for motivation is Schoolboy Q in the studio.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've got my own studio now.
Studio's about
Great song.
Yeah.
I spoke to Fieldy because Studio, I had a very special experience with Studio in Amsterdam in a coffee shop. It's like the first time I heard like Schoolboy Q. But I was late to Schoolboy Q basically. And Studio in a coffee shop in Amsterdam after an edible, unbelievable. But Fieldy was like, oh, that's the worst song on the album, blah blah blah.
What?
And I was like, yeah, I know.
No.
He's not.
But he loves Schoolboy Q as a lyricist.
He does.
Yeah, because I've been listening to that. Then I've also been listening to Man of the Year.
Yeah, Man of the
So
Year.
I feel
again,
like
really good.
You know, like I said, in the last few weeks, I've been making movements and progressions.
Yeah.
So, like honestly, when I'm doing my stuff, I just have Man of the Year on repeat. I listen to it 25 times in a row.
Yeah.
But coming to the reason what Drew mentioned, I actually bought a white balaclava and a white.
Oh, you're right. We should have kept Jerry as the M Huncho. of
Yeah.
podcasts.
Exactly,
For
yeah.
like
So
the
you don't
first
see his
3
face.
episodes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's the big reveal. That's what I was
Yeah,
going to
so
say.
I've
Yeah,
basically
it's
touched. I
too
mean,
late.
it's upstairs, so who knows?
late.
I'm looking in the camera, but who cares?
Well, maybe this isn't really Jerry, and we're just going to do that.
So
Snap.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I've done. But maybe we'll do a Schoolboy Q artist cover. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Definitely.
I mean,
We could book him for the show.
yeah, we have
He's
so
the kind of guy. He's the kind of rapper that probably would come on a show like this.
we have so many
Genuinely.
opportunities.
Oi.
That's the thing,
Genuinely.
That's
I think
right,
he
Tim.
is.
We're right.
you know.
Facts. Tomorrow.
Like I say, at some point, I'm going to be honest. I am going to email every artist and every record label. So you're going to have an email from jazzfmradio@gmail.com, basically saying, "Do you want to come on my show?"
Hey, if I can email nasty Nick Cotton from EastEnders to come to Owley's Stag, then you should just go and email whoever the hell you want.
I'm going to
I
do
think.
it. I'm going to see who will say yes. I'm going to share a little snippet and just say, look, we get lit on the show. We talk about music, and we want a special guest.
Come meet Gracie.
Yeah, come meet the dog.
Yeah,
Come meet.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, come meet Sue and Ian.
So
whatever.
yeah, but anyway,
Drake episode.
I think Drake episode.
All right, yeah. So we're moving on.
Next album.
No, we're still on Fake Me Later.
Oh, still on Fake Me
Oh,
Later.
we've
Okay,
got another song.
alright.
Oh yeah, of course we have.
Yeah, so for me again, there's 3 songs. There's 3 songs for Drake that kind of fit into the first 3 big hitters that I just remember having on repeat all the time. We've already talked about 2 of them. So Best I Ever Had was the first one. Find Your Love, actually, I don't even know if we talked about it, but Drew was, by the way, fighting to have Find Your Love on the playlist, but unfortunately didn't quite make it. You know,
It happens.
I'll save it for my wedding.
There's
a lot
no
of songs,
rights or
yeah.
wrongs when it comes to these choices, so it's a tough one.
Yeah.
But for me, it's Best I Ever Had, Find Your Love, and this one we're going to play, which is Over. And those 3 were like the big first 3 for me that were just.
Over's the one where he's in the video where he's sitting on his bed and all the lighting's coming behind him and stuff.
Do you know what? Back in the day, I wasn't big on YouTube, so I wasn't really watching past like the MTV Base days and Music Channel days. I wasn't really big on it until more recently. Now I'm massive. I love watching YouTube, man.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, Over and for me again, you look at Find Your Love, pure R&B song.
Yeah.
You look at Best I Ever Had. There's some lyrics, but it's again, the softer side of hip hop. Over was the first time I was like, okay, this guy
He's
can
rapping.
really spit. He can spit as well. And then obviously when we get into his later albums, we find out how good he really is lyrically. But yeah, Over bangs.
Well,
Over's
no,
the tune.
obviously I've got my research in front of me, and I'm just looking at. I mean, it went platinum.
Yeah.
So that's standard for pretty much Drake, you know. Number 1 UK albums, US Billboard 200, US top R&B hip hop albums. But it's only because I do remember at one point there's a video off this album which was filmed in Jamaica, I believe. And
That is Find Your Love, isn't it?
is it Find Your Love?
Where he's on the beach. I think they're on the beach in Jamaica where they're dancing around.
And basically, it happened to be a government official from Jamaica said, by all means, I know that war kind of big in the music scene. She was referring to a lot of gun culture and crime and gangs was in the video. But I just wanted to basically verify my source before I made this comment, but it's too late. So I've said it, and then it is true, but I just can't remember which specific video it was about.
Okay.
But as I said, this album is not a go-to for me as such. But
Over is just undeniable.
I know Over is a great song though.
It's one of those that just, if you're gonna pick like 10 songs that were to say, kind of be the big standpoints in his career, this would probably be one of them.
Yeah, like I say, I think it was early days for him getting commercial success.
Yeah.
And it's a boy wonder again.
Of course.
Hit
after hit after hit after hit.
Are we going to talk about if you're reading this is too late or no?
Yeah, but that'll be episode 2.
Episode 2?
That'll be part 2.
Okay, because that is probably one of my favourite mixtapes.
Yeah.
And obviously that is predominantly Boy Wonder.
I know. See, that's my least listen.
Are you being serious?
That's my least.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Rob's favourite as well.
Yeah, there's do you know what? I'm just going to say it because we've missed it. But So Far Gone. I've said in the previous podcast, my favourite track off there is The Calm.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
And then Noah 40 said in an interview basically what are your favourite tracks? And obviously there's hundreds. And he said The Calm, and I was like, do you know what? I'm so glappy.
Glappy. I'm so glappy.
I'm so
glad and happy.
Glad and happy. Glappy.
Mate, I love that.
I'm creating terms all the time.
To be fair.
Yeah, I was like, I'm so happy I called it in the previous podcast, or that is my favourite track, and that's what brought me
got
to
a good ear, mate.
the OVO kind of sound.
Yeah.
And then this brings me on to the other point when we talked about Public Enemy. And then the next day, I sent you the link, didn't I?
Yeah.
Chuck D had an interview with the BBC saying how his music is more important than ever. So it's a good little insight that, don't get me wrong, we're having a good time, but what we're saying is valid.
Still relevant.
You know? It's like the very next day, Chuck D saying to the BBC, it's more, like, what we're doing is, it means the most.
But Gezz, you know why?
Why?
He listened to the podcast.
maybe that's what
He
it
listened
is.
to the podcast. And he was like, do you know what?
Yeah.
These boys are keeping my name alive.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Annoying that he didn't shout us out.
Yeah.
But it is
But
what it
because,
is.
like, I'm going to be honest, I said The Calm, So Far Gone was my favourite song, and Madonna was my favourite song.
Madonna's
a big
favourite
tune.
on yeah.
I
then
feel bad that we didn't choose it, but...
Madonna's my favourite.
And then,
Oh!
No, we haven't done
Well,
that.
actually, yeah, part 2 hasn't necessarily
Yeah.
been
We haven't
decided
chosen
yet,
and then
so that's
like
cool.
I said, the 2 songs that Noah said are his favourite was The Calm
He did,
and Madonna.
Madonna, that's crazy.
And when I was listening, I was like, I'm a fucking musical genius. Literally.
You're in the wrong field then. Start podcasting and start producing.
You know, but so that was just a little. I kind of missed it. I wanted to speak about that. How what we're doing, we're having fun as a group, but yeah, we are. What we've said has came into light a little bit later on.
For sure.
This album, Thank Me Later. Let's just jump into the next track, right?
Over.
Let's do it.
So coming up now, we have Over. I'm going to speak into the camera. Like, share, tweet, YouTube, Spotify will have the songs. If you're enjoying it, then yeah, just show some love. But this is the Gezz FM and Friends podcast.
Support this wavy guy.
Yeah, we're having a good time. This is what it's about. Fifth episode, Drake theme. And then we've played. This is the 4th song, right?
It's the 4th song.
Fourth song.
We're
So
halfway.
Next album
half-
coming up.
50% through it. Okay, so enjoy it. Much love. Enjoy the song on Spotify.
I'm not gonna lie, Jez, long term we should stop talking into the camera. That's just my personal honest opinion. It's my honest
I think you
opinion.
got to break the barriers.
You do have to break barriers, but I think when you watch this back, you'll realise.
But think about
it's fine for the first episode.
Think about YouTube is everything that mainstream TV isn't, right? That's the way I
see
would.
people talking to the camera all the time.
They do it.
They do.
But in this format,
Yeah.
they don't tend to do it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I think is interesting.
Oh, okay.
You want to have this, and then I'm like, oh fuck, I'm talking to you now.
You want to blend the lines between a podcast and a
News report.
not a news report, but you get like those Twitch players and stuff that like talking to the camera.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I'm still recording.
That's fine. Cut that off the end.
You're listening to the Gezz FM and Friends Late Night Show.
Hello, welcome back. This is the Gezz FM and Friends podcast series, available on Spotify and basically everywhere that has a podcast. If I'm honest, it's on every platform.
Go view it.
Watch, stream, follow.
Yeah, obviously on YouTube, got an Insta, Gezz FM, Facebook, Gezz FM. So tonight's theme is Drake. We've played a few songs so far, from So Far Gone and Thank Me Later. But now we're moving on to Take Care.
That's it. Next one.
Drake Part 1. So Drake's first 4 projects. Tonight.
So this is Drake Part 1. Yeah, because there's so much to talk about Drake.
Who knows when Part 2 will be out? We might not necessarily do it in a row.
Yeah, I think so. We've got certified Lover Boy, haven't we? Coming out shortly.
Oh, we have got the new
album.
So that's the thing. It might be that we do.
It's supposed to be
might
coming
be
out
3
this Friday,
parts.
apparently.
Yeah,
it might be 3
teasing
parts.
it.
So we'll see. We'll see when we get this wrapped up.
Noah said on the Durant interview, it's ready to go.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah.
He probably was ready to go fucking ages ago.
He said he doesn't know whether he'll give you a run up or whether he'll drop it overnight. He's one of those.
Yeah, he's one of those.
So
I like it overnight.
Take Care. What are your thoughts to begin with?
So let me go first on this, just because I know full well that I'm in the minority on this one.
That's fine. I have a drink.
That Take Care is, and again, when I look at we'll go through some of the track lists because I want you guys to almost try and pull me over. It's my least favourite Drake album, and takes nothing away from it because again, when you look at the songs on it, amazing. But do you know what I mean? If I rank Drake albums like 1 to 8, whatever he's had in terms of like,
it's your least favourite.
That's not including like What a Time to Be Alive with Future. That would be below it, for example.
Oh really?
The Drake studio albums is probably my least favourite.
I mean,
Drew, what are you
headlines.
feeling?
And
you
again,
saying least favourite for you?
Oh no, it's not my least favourite.
I know I'm in the minority.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
it's not my least favourite.
Because
my least favourite Drake albums are weirdly some of his newer ones. I prefer this old 4 core albums, start-off albums. These ones are for me. I mean, this album has got Crew Love on it. It's got Take Care on it. It's got Marvin's Room on it. It's got so many bangers on this album.
As much as those, and again, Marvin's Room will probably make my top 10 Drake songs easily, possibly even.
it makes my top 5.
Exactly, it will possibly even scratch the top 5. But yeah, again, the album for me as a whole, not the one.
Because just to drop some knowledge in between, released on November the 15th, 2011. We have The Weeknd, Rihanna, Kendrick, Nicki Minaj, Rick Ross, Lil Wayne, and Drake. So
do you know? Can I just say? Do you know what's interesting, and do you know why I feel like this about this album? You know what Drake says he feels about Thank Me Later.
Yeah.
About
you feel this is rushed?
I feel like this is the one that's more mainstream.
Do you? Oh,
I feel like this is the one that's got all the features on it that are the people who are hot at the time.
I feel like he didn't like Thank Me Later, and then he realised that he's actually done something here. It's gone big. Let's do it again.
He doesn't say that though.
He doesn't
It's an
say
interesting thing.
But I think he's thought, look, I know I can do this type of album. It's gone big. Let's do it again and get more features in. And let's see how big we can get this recipe before we try something else.
This album won him his first Grammy.
Yeah.
I mean, that
And then,
speaks for itself.
just so if anyone doesn't know, the reason why it's called Take Care is because he felt Thank Me Later was so rushed that he literally wanted to take care with this album.
Okay. So I wouldn't say it's rushed because again the production, the step up in terms of sonics is better, much better as an album sonically.
Yeah,
the clarity of sound, the producers 40 and Wonder and whoever else is on this album definitely reached a new level themselves as well.
Then something just to kind of note is Thank Me Later. Noah was involved a lot. But they was also going to other people, he said.
At this point.
Yeah, with Thank Me Later. And they was flying here, there and everywhere. And Take Care, there was more in one spot. And it was mainly Noah kind of doing most of the work with the internal crew. So maybe that's why it feels a bit more polished.
Manufactured.
And then a bit more like Noah vibes, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
But, I mean, this album for me, I remember when I was living in Coventry for uni, so I had friends kind of outside my apartment who I used to meet up with and go out with, and then all I'd do is basically whack on this album, drink a bottle of Disaronno, because that's probably what you guys know me for,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
And then I'd go and meet them, but I remember it would be like, you know, when, like I say, because not that I weren't friends with the people in my flat, but we didn't have that same connection.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of shot for me over my dead body, Marvin's room, and there'd be just me. I was drinking a bottle of Disaronno in my room, pre-drinking, and then going out and having a great time.
life.
Yeah,
You know?
that's what Drake's aiming for in a
that's-
lot of his music. It's that mood music.
Yeah.
It's that like you want to be in that specific
Where you can feel
zone,
it.
and then that listening to that music makes you feel even more in that zone.
Yeah, he does like nobody else take you. He
With those melodic sounds.
He has no
Yeah.
shame in making people feel something,
Yes.
which has not
Yeah.
really been done in
It's
hip hop.
atmospheric. I've always said I love someone who can talk about their personal life and connect, and I feel like he does this very well. Even with the skit at the start of Marvin's Room, when he's calling, the phone call of,
Yeah.
what are you doing? It's like, I've been to the club. You've had too much drink. You have a glass of water.
Everyone's felt it at some point in their
you
life.
have.
Every guy has felt that at some point in their life.
And
Yeah,
He makes you think, whether he is feeling it or not at the time, he puts himself in those shoes, doesn't it?
yeah, of course, yeah.
This is probably it's my favourite album. It is
Yeah,
my
no,
favourite
that's fair.
album. Yeah.
Do you know what I will
That's
say as
mad
well?
that we've got both of you on here that love Drake so much.
But then we got-
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the middle of this
Yeah.
album, and it's your most unliked and your
it's
favourite.
my favourite album.
But then,
yeah.
when we get to the next one, the final album that we're going to talk about today, something changes, and it's a
Yeah.
big change. But anyway, I think another reason for me why this is probably near the bottom for me is because, okay, this is probably a good time to talk about where this is probably would argue his most mainstream album, maybe where he first hit the charts big time, in not just in America, because Billboard he was smashing anyway, but over here,
this
ridiculous.
This is the album where I saw more people saying
Cotton on.
with Drake.
exactly.
This,
But this is my problem with it, right? And this is where we get into the discussion about, is it as cool as it is to like Drake? Some people would argue it's cool just to hate him as well, just for the sake of he's too mainstream at this point. Like I'm not interested, and one of the reasons. So taking it back to the point with the album is, one of the reasons people don't like him or have an excuse instantly not to like him is because they hear the radio play songs.
Yeah.
They hear Hotline Blings, they hear your One Dances, they hear.
You named all my favourites.
They hear. Yeah, I know, but this is fine because you self-admittedly like cheesy music, which is cool. But people who are hardcore hip hop fans that dismiss his ability to rap point to these songs immediately because that's what gets put in front
That's a
of them.
scapegoat.
And with this album, it's got a lot of those songs, and I don't like it when people use that as an excuse, because if I put songs in front of you, any of the time checked songs, so 5 a.m. in Calabasas, 6 p.m. in New York, any of the timestamp songs, go and listen to those. But this album didn't have really much of that. So that's why, personally, for me, it's an album that a lot of people who hate on Drake can look at it and say, "Oh, look at Take Care, though. Oh, like that's just full of pop songs with Rihanna and so what." You could argue the same about Views; it had quite a few, but yeah, that's for me why I'm not a fan of it. I like the ones where he goes deeper lyrically.
Because I feel like this. He talks about a lot of kind of girlfriends in this, doesn't he?
It's a very
who I should be with.
Yes.
It's kind of like.
Yeah.
What would my life be? I'm kind of getting into this success, but what have I? He talked about goals that.
This is my personal life.
Yeah, and that's what I fucking love.
And at this point,
At
this point though, I'm ready for Drake to now evolve as an artist.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
And
we had already had that. We already knew he had that, and that's what he.
But he
rapped
becomes the rapper in Nothing Was the Same.
But yeah, let's obviously talk about the tracks then on this one before we.
Then what I quickly want to mention is, so you have your album, and normally you drop a single, which is it's basically gonna,
Yeah.
I would say, be in the clubs, be
Get you to
lively.
buy the album.
But the single for this was Marvin's Room.
So
Who has done anything like this?
So there we go.
Drop a single like that.
So that's perfect because that's our first choice. And you're right because again, watery drums come back in, underwater drums, the most stripped back beat.
Oh,
and
yeah.
before you said
Empty.
again, if you hand that beat to any other rapper at the time, they'll go, "What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with this?" And then
He just
it's just
absolutely
clarity.
kills it.
And and the melodies that he hits, and it's just a song that you can just sit and if you're a fan of music in general, you can listen to that song and enjoy it if you're in a certain mood.
And then, just so we do cover it, also Andre 3000's first in The Real Her.
Yeah.
That is fucking smooth.
He goes
fuck,
further
right?
on that, right? He has the outro verse on
That is fucking unbelievable. Like, I have listened to that song and just listened to Andre's verse.
Again, what we said before about Andre when we mentioned Free Stacks before was that he doesn't have to do much these days. He doesn't have to, but the artists that do choose him for their projects, always big names.
And then, like I say, with this album also, the motto, right?
Yeah, the motto,
Yeah.
He basically brought YOLO to
that
the fucking
very true.
public world, didn't he?
Hell Yeah Fucking Right This was on this album.
Again,
Yeah.
I don't know how Hell Yeah Fucking Right or the motto has not been chosen, to be honest with
Yeah, but like, that's the thing. YOLO, Drake brought it to the mainstream, didn't he? Let's face it.
Yeah,
But I did
no
give
one
you
was saying
the
that.
choice. I will say, Hell Yeah Fucking Right. So annoyed it's not on the list because, again, rap ability technically, he later on for me on the next album he develops more his ability to multi properly with depth and substance, but you listen to his technical abilities flow at the beginning of Hell Yeah Fucking Right. The guy doesn't breathe for like a minute.
Yeah, it's mad.
He can spit.
But then you've got the songs like Practice, which I was talking about earlier. And then Hate Sleeping Alone as well, which I forgot was on there as a bonus track.
Cameras. I even love the Buried Alive interlude with Kendrick.
Yeah, exactly. It's got Kendrick
First time they
interlude on
worked
it.
together,
Like,
I think.
And then obviously you have Take Care with Rihanna, and then not that you can't Crew Love and The Weekend.
Yeah, that's the first proper link up, wasn't it?
You know.
I
Was it the
don't
link
know.
up before
It'd
that?
be interesting because they're obviously from the same city,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't be
And then
surprised if
obviously
there
The
was something that
Weekend
happened
was
before
signed to
that.
OVO.
Yeah,
the money's own way.
I didn't realise he was actually signed.
Yeah,
to
it was
that.
OVO, and then it was OVO XO when I think
Yeah,
they
he
together.
went his own way and he's basically.
Because that was, I saw Drake at Wireless. I can't remember which year it was.
Yeah.
And it started pissing down with rain.
That's around the Olympics. Yeah.
And Weekend was also performing, and then he came out for Crew Love, and it just the lights. It was dark blue. That
2011, right? Take Care. 2011.
Take Care.
I can't remember what year. I can't remember what Wireless that was.
So I
that went
reckon
to.
2012.
It might have been
Olympic
2012.
year,
It is
right?
2011.
It
November
might,
the 15th.
yeah, I think it was one just before the one at the Olympic Stadium. So it might have
but
been.
yeah.
So should we go into Marvin's Room?
Yeah,
then,
just one quick
before-
thing.
Go on.
Drake's biggest regret is he said that he didn't do enough work with The Weeknd and he didn't provide the fans with the tour that they were meant to do.
Of course.
It needs to happen.
Could you imagine?
And then one quick little thing. So obviously you have the YOLO in the motto, right?
Yeah.
But you know him, Rick Ross the Boys.
Yeah.
And he says like basically what I'm worried about is when I give an artist a beat, I'm like, what are they gonna bring back to me? But he says with Rick, I know who he always produces.
He said he's got the most faith in his solidity of verse.
So he basically
A lot of
said
people
that.
said that.
I just know what I'm gonna get. So
For me, I think he's probably my most consistent rapper.
So this is what Drake says.
Yeah.
So he says, I know what I'm gonna get. So basically, that's why I fuck with him.
Yeah.
Basically, same as Future. That's what it is.
Wow.
But Drake
Yeah,
and
if you want that sound.
Wow, yeah.
I don't know Future, but if you want that sound.
Drake and Rick Ross, they actually had a mixtape or like a collaborative album called YOLO. And then, do you know the reason why they didn't release it?
No.
Go on.
Because of Watch the Throne success.
Oh.
That's mad.
Yeah.
That's mad.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's called YOLO, him and Rick Ross.
Oh, I need
Do you think
to
that's
hear.
more out of respect, or do you think that's more out of okay, this is now the wrong time to do this?
I feel like Drake.
I need to hear that.
Drake has always done something different with, like, say, the sound, releasing Marvin Room as a single, kind of going against the trend. I guess it was just unfortunate that Jay-Z and Kanye released that album, and then maybe it.
Because he did that Money in the Grave pack recently as well with Rick Ross, like a couple of years back, which was ridiculous. And Omerta on that.
So
the bars in that song are Ridiculous.
But you know, him and Lil Wayne have done an album together too.
Who?
Drake
Gezz.
and Lil Wayne.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
The amount of projects
the
that will be sitting in
so
people's
much.
vaults and banks, we could speculate on forever.
Let's be honest. He released Care Package, which is kind of like unreleased singles, not available on.
Yeah, they weren't available on streaming.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
right.
finally got released.
It went number one,
Mate, because they just beat when someone.
And then it was even like, I know there's him and Kanye did a lot of stuff together before it went ironically west.
Nice.
You know,
nice.
Gezz.
I know Josh Haig would appreciate that.
He would appreciate that.
But yeah, so
we're actually going to do a double play on this one anyway, aren't we?
yeah, let's throw in
It's Marvin's Room. And what was the other one that we picked?
Yeah, Marvin's Room.
The other one we picked, again, this is you guys' call.
Was the first
I
one,
gave
wasn't
you
it?
full creative control over this album.
It was Over My Dead Body.
Over my
Yeah, it has to be, mate.
That's the thing. It's like, I know.
Mate, shout out to my Asian girls. Let the lights dim some.
Yeah.
You can't not put that on the list.
And that was why I allowed it.
And then, if I was going to choose, say like 10 songs for this podcast, 2-part series, 3-part series, who knows, 4-part series, I could have chosen 80% of them from this album. That's how much I love it.
That's how I feel about Nothing Was the Same.
You know, I know Practice.
Practice the video.
Then not that I want to go back to this theme, but
Practice.
the strip club vibes.
There's a common theme emerging here, Jay.
You know what I'm saying with cameras and practice? Yeah, so obviously we have Marvin's Room coming up next.
Yeah.
And then
Followed by Over My Dead Body.
Over My Dead Body. As always, available on Spotify with the songs. It's a better listening experience. So, yeah, guys, talking to you out there. I've been told not to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Listen on Spotify. Available on YouTube. It's going to be available everywhere else though. Google, Apple Music. Like, share, tweet. Obviously, we're having a good time. This is the 5th episode in the podcast series. Tonight's theme is Drake, but we want to go so much deeper in the future. Now we got the set. You know, we want to talk about specific verses, bars, kind of record labels. You know, we need to do just a talk about Scott Storch.
We need to do talks about record producers. Like I was saying, Max messaged me the other day. I was saying to you, he wants to.
Well, we've got
murdering.
Well, let's because we kind of decided on our 4 topics, right? Like to give you an idea, like we're not sure whether this is set in concrete.
This is like a rough plan.
But yeah,
AKA a message over WhatsApp.
Exactly that. But then this is the modern world, and this is how business is done these days. But yeah, I'm just going to go back and try and find the layout that we did. But the idea is that we'll do kind of record on a Friday, we'll do a different topic each week, and we'll do it on a 4-week rolling thing. So artist spotlight today, just like we're doing with Drake. Week 2 would be beats and bars. So we'll talk a little bit about, say for example, our favourite J. Cole songs, or our best Scott Storch beats.
Yeah.
So
and I know that's where you come into your own
beats.
That's what you love.
Talk to me about lyrics all day.
You love that more than me.
Talk to me about lyrics all day. And on the next album with Drake, which is where I think he really evolves in that sense. Top 8 debate would be week 3. So we'll do a debate about, say, the best Kanye West songs.
Yeah.
Have our own list, talk it out, see what we think. Could be Kanye West songs, could be whatever we fancy. And then week 4 might be an album review. So, for example, we might talk about the Black Album, particular albums that have had like a big impact in the culture, or just personal favourites of ours. So, yeah, that'd be the plan. Do it on a 4-week revolving thing. See what everyone enjoys, and then get some feedback. So definitely put comments in after the videos.
What you want us to review.
Yeah, of course.
Because also, I love learning. So if I haven't heard it, I will smash it out all in a week, absorb as much as I can, and I'll give my personal opinion. But okay, again, not another tangent. But if you literally want to come on the show, if you're a friend of mine, drop me a message. Do you know what I mean?
But also, what I'd say is, you use the comment section to tell us what you want to hear, because you've got like your base is in is in the history, is in your older hip hop, 90s, 80s, etc. Mine is in UK music, lyricism, and Drew is kind of like the all rounder who just like has fingers in all kinds of different pies.
I'll listen to everything.
R&B, like everything. So, but obviously we want to give people what they want. So, yeah.
So I think let's end it.
Let's go into the two songs. Yeah, let's do it. Again, Marvin's Room, Over My Dead Body.
Enjoy it.
You're listening to the Gezz FM and Friends Late Night Show.
And we are live again for Gezz FM and Friends. Obviously, we have Drew Reese here, Drake theme for the 5th episode in the podcast series. Available on Spotify. Obviously, now it's YouTube too because we have the filming involved, the 2 camera angles, camera in the sink. You know,
camera in the sink, gang.
It's that setup.
Camera on the counter.
So we've gone through so far gone. We've talked about Noah. We've talked about the OVO sound. We've talked about Thank Me Later. We've talked about Take Care. So we've covered quite a bit in the first part.
Yep.
So obviously,
one more album to go.
And then the album is
Nothing Was the Same.
Nothing Was the Same. Yeah.
That iconic album cover.
Yep. Drizzy in the Clouds as a baby, deluxe edition. Drizzy in the Clouds with his classic shape up.
Beautiful.
Yeah, mate, so good. And again, I think this is where he really evolved. I think this is where he really found his own.
This was the rap album after So Far Gone.
And then also his most concise album.
Agreed.
Because
body of work overall.
Yeah.
In terms of getting some substance in there for the first proper time that wasn't just about girls, because he talks about his mum and his dad on this album for the first time really, and various other things. But well, what I love is if people don't know, his mum was an English teacher and a florist, so that's he always says the reason why I get the language is from my mum. You know, Sandra's Rose, hence, you know, it's the florist aspect. And then his dad, he said, that's where I get my swag from. He was the musician, you know, he was the G, you know. So I guess
I love looking at his, I love looking at him on his Instagram.
Like it's mad, isn't it?
It's mad.
Yeah,
it's so good. You can see where he gets it from.
And you know what I love about it as well is like obviously his dad, like from what you find out later on, his dad's life obviously didn't really go as well as his mum's did financially and in terms of like quality of living and stuff, but like with the resurgence with Drake's success, like he's really like brought his dad into like a different light.
His dad has released his own records.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you can do that, and that's probably just been a dream of his, and like be able to really do that.
Again, he's kind of just bringing everyone up as much as possible.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's mum, dad, friends, everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, this album is, like I say, if anyone doesn't know, the art cover is actually a Toronto artist too. Yeah. Again, that whole theme of bringing the city up. You know, I know Tory Lanez actually hated on Drake for a little bit. Well, not hated. He had a bit of beef with him because he was mentioning the 6 so much, and there is a slight disreference there. Then we've kind of talked about the sound because that's what all he wanted to do is make a sound for Toronto. Yeah. But this album is incredible.
He just got the most personal on it. This is definitely where he got the most personal, and like I say, I think the last 2, Thank Me Later, self-admittedly wasn't necessarily made for him and was rushed. And then, like I say, Take Care, quite a mainstream album, a lot of pop songs. This one, like he just had some stuff to talk about, which I think was a big criticism of him up to this point. And yeah, he does it so well. And
I remember waking up and realising that this album had dropped straight on Rap Godfathers, downloaded it straight away, headphones in my MacBook, listened to it, and I thought, this is what we need right now.
Yeah, mate, he opens albums so well across the board. We talked about it earlier. He opens and closes albums so well. His opening songs are usually really quite dramatic. There's usually quite a lot of bars in there. Sometimes there's some subliminals in there, which we always like. And then the outros are normally either timestamp songs or just songs where he's just addressing beef or just addressing things, and he just goes in. And those are the songs that I feel like non-Drake fans need to invest time in, just to see, especially hardcore hip hop fans.
Like I say, you
see if you like him.
You have Drake with the slow jams, the R&B. You have the pop Drake. You even have the kind of dancehall music Drake, right?
Yeah.
Then you have now even the dual Drake. So you have 5 different types of Drakes.
Well, yeah, that's what 40 was saying, wasn't he? He said he has almost 4 different fan bases that he has to try and cater to. So when you're making an album, and they talked about Scorpion at this particular time, because they said obviously a lot of people's criticism of Scorpion is too many songs. You feel that?
There's a lot of songs.
But the reason he said he does it is, what are you going to do? If 40 believes in the 10-song album.
Oh yeah, that's what he loves.
Right,
Yeah.
he believes in the 10-song album. But the problem is, if you're a straight rapper like Eminem, a 10-song album's perfect. If you've got 5 genres and therefore you've got 5 different fan bases you have to please.
Yeah.
You've just got to cut it down.
What are you going to do? Just give them 2 of each?
can't.
You can't do that.
We had to pick 2 now.
Yeah,
We had to pick 2 now.
yeah.
I think you got.
Understand? We had to do that, yeah.
But how much did we hate picking it?
But if he does that, does he achieve the level of fan base that he's got? Probably not.
I think 20 songs is a lot of songs, man.
It's a lot of songs, but if it was getting to a point where, okay, the numbers were dropping off because only 16 of the songs were like really doing well. No, all 20 of those songs are still doing crazy numbers.
Yeah.
So you can't say necessarily it's too much because people are still consuming it.
Would the quality be better?
I agree. I agree. And when we do Drake Part 2, the second 4 or 5 projects or whatever it is, I will talk a bit more about how I think there are more throwaway songs on those albums. Inevitably, if you do a 2022 song album,
exactly,
there's going to be Ratchet Happy Birthday is probably the worst song he's ever made. However,
but then again, Scorpion, all the girls that play on Instagram for Happy Birthday is fucking mad.
And again, that comes back to the fact that he is trying to be a pop star and the biggest artist of all time. Anyway, yeah. So where are we?
One thing I do want to say is, obviously, with the kind of Scorpion album, I know we're not getting into it yet, but the 20 odd songs, he wanted it to be like Life After Death, B.I.G., where
2 sides,
just bangers. You know, obviously you got the first half kind of rap, then the second half R&B.
Yeah.
So he's like, in my eyes, I just wanted it to be 20 odd songs of absolute bangers, and that's what he wanted to produce. But then I don't have the attention span for 96 minutes of music, and I think that's what Scorpion is.
Yeah.
So this album was perfect for me. It had great features. Jhené Aiko, Sampha,
there's
Magic
like,
Jordan.
Yeah, when you talk about lyricism, right? Because again, I think this is where he became the most adept lyrically. When you talk about lyricism, there's 3 big things when you talk about making someone the best lyricist. Like ability to do metaphors, similes, double entendres. So like your actual wordplay. Your cadence, yeah. So again, flow, but also fitting things into that, and then storytelling. So like being able to make people like dive into what you're saying and like just hook them in 2 lines. And he does all 3 of those things on this album in different ways. The songs we've chosen, by the way, like the next, because we might as well tell all 3 because they're all off the same project. So we're going to do Tusk and Leather, the language, and then the motion.
I mean, Wu-Tang Forever, by the way,
when you talk about cadence on the motion, like being able to just slip into the same pocket and just like repeat it and just bop, right? Bop is a big thing that rappers talk about. Yeah. Because if you can't create, no matter how good you are, if you can't create bop, just making someone just nod their head, like it's not gonna fly. And the motion is the perfect example of that.
Come Through does the same sort of thing.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's slower, but it does the same thing.
I was very happy when you had Take Care and then this album to follow.
Yeah, it was the perfect transition.
Honestly, like
that's quality on top of quantity. On top of quality for me.
305 to My City.
Yeah.
The language.
Pound Cake. We spoke about last time.
We have spoke about Pound Cake, and obviously, you know when we was talking about Noah fucking up that beat, distorting, doing whatever. I know recently there's been like an Instagram reel of Ellie Goulding saying, "Oh, did you know this was me on the beat?"
Yeah,
I actually did know it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we knew it. I think we spoke.
We
about
like that who sampled. Into who sampled.
But it's like that's a pure example of him just fucking up the beat. Like I feel like this album does have everything.
And that's another thing that we haven't even I didn't even mention. 40's production comes on a long way in this album as well. a long way, he starts to use a lot more vocal snips and old samples, which he was using before, but not to this extent.
Because I know with Noah, I keep calling him Noah, like first name or first name terms,
right? You've been to Toronto, that's what it is.
He says that a lot of the times. Well, firstly, he got into kind of music because there was his house had a student exchange. His mum, so there was a Japanese student came over with some.
English. He dated an English girl, right?
Yeah, there was an English girl, but a Japanese student came over with like the DJ turntables.
Oh, okay.
And basically, that kind of got him into. Yeah, that was like the first signs of what is this?
Yeah.
And then he said that his dad was very good with kind of technology. And then he said that he's always had this kind of creative spark of technology and being a creative. So he said, I don't know this guy's name, but from Japan, kind of brought him into the DJing world.
Yeah. He was like a self-confessed nerd anyway. So
and then he said he was always building shit and saying what can I do with this speaker? Yeah. He said basically anything with a cable or like if it was electric, he was interested in it.
Yeah, and he said the first time like someone saw his setup and he told them that he'd made this all off of his laptop and a couple plugins.
Oh yeah.
And they were just like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean you've done that? Where's your MIDI? Where's your MPC? Like, what's going on?"
When I watched this interview with, I said it was Noah and this guy called Les from Toronto. Basically, they're in the studio and they're fucking welding shit together in the speaker and that. And then there's like, and it's like everything was like homemade near enough.
Yeah.
And he said that what he does for a living, what he enjoys doing is creating studios.
Yeah. He said he's got too many now.
And then he said, no one has a studio like mine.
Yeah.
And he says, basically, I can plug in my laptop and I've got everything that you could ever want. And he says, not only does this make it enjoyable for me to produce music with Drake, he goes, sometimes we sit down and I'm done in 5 and 10 minutes. And then he said he's had artists come in, I guess from OVO Sound, and he's like, I'm done. And I'm like, what? He's like, I'm done. Like, this is over. Like, I've got what I need. And he even said, like, I know we mentioned about the setup today, I've got a camera in the sink. he said that he records stuff on his iPhone.
Yeah.
Just fucking uses it.
Fair.
You know? Just goes in the keys. But anyway, it's a bit of a digression. But
can I go on a complete tangent there while you're talking about studios?
Yeah.
I was watching, I don't know if you've seen that Dave Letterman's got his talk show on Netflix.
I've seen a couple of episodes. Who was on it?
He's on the 3rd season now.
Yeah, I see the first few.
I thought, do you know what? The people that he's got in the 3rd season, I was like, I'm going to go back and start again. So I watched the Jay-Z one, which is the first
I love
series.
that one. So good.
You seen it?
Yeah, of course I have.
Jez, you see where they talk about Rick Rubin's studio and on his land? Where he's got the old van.
Yeah, the old camper.
The old camper van.
Yeah, of course I love it.
Mad. Do you know he mixed half of Yeezus in that van?
Yeah, because do you know what I hate about it? I think he's got his feet out the whole interview.
Yeah, he is a proper hobo.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing about it is when you look back and you see he's like a hobo now, and then you see him in the 99 Problems video, and he's wearing the biggest fur coat and fucking like fedora hat with a feather in it. Sick. But I thought that was crazy. I'm going to watch all of those, man, because there's a Kanye one.
Yeah, the Kanye one is
interesting.
I think I've seen the Kanye one. That's the one I've seen.
Wow.
Literally, we just
big news.
That Joe Rogan Kanye
confirmed 7 minutes ago. Big news.
Oh, that's mental.
At time of recording, not at time of release. We're late on that.
I really hope Kanye doesn't dig himself a hole, but he's gonna.
Probably will. Yeah.
Well, Joe,
and it'll probably be very politically charged. Which is quite annoying.
Let's not feed other people's content anyway.
No, I'm just going to call it now. You know what's going to happen? It's going to be Kanye saying all this stuff and Joe just going, like, nodding.
Potentially.
You know what I mean? Like, you know.
I think he's going to want to let him go.
Yeah.
You just want to let him go.
Yeah, you got to let him go.
Yeah, he always, like, for example.
And he can go.
In that David Letterman interview, that's all he does.
Okay.
Literally, David's kind of like.
That's what he did on the Zane Lowe interview. He does all of his interviews. You just got to let him go off, man.
Just grip on, hold on tight for the ride.
You know.
So we're coming on to nothing to say. So the songs we've chosen, we already mentioned, I think. So Tuscan Leather being the first one, probably should talk about him a little bit. Tuscan Leather, we were talking about Drake beefs a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And this was I'm late to some stuff, especially in American hip hop, because Canadian hip hop, whatever you want to call it. Especially with the beats, because it's so subliminal some of the time, and some of the history is so old that you catch up on it late. So Tuscan Leather was the first time I heard about the beef between Pusha T and Drake, and there's a couple of bars on it where he says about jump in front of a bullet you wasn't meant for, so on. And then we were just talking about it starting with Wayne, so we didn't know that beef actually started between like actual
Wayne.
Pusha T and Wayne and Clips back in the day, like 2006 or something. But yeah, what do you think of like Drake's beefs, like the main two being Pusha and
Meek Mill
and Meek? Yeah,
I think.
And how do you think he's fared?
Well, I know the Meek Mill one started because apparently Drake didn't turn up for a concert. And obviously, from what I think that's charged up back to back, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
What do you think of those two? What do you think of Charged Up?
So good. They're also
Charged Up was like a softie.
Yeah, I didn't think Charged Up was like.
It didn't hit, but it was clever. But it was clever because he didn't. It killed him, and he was already dead when he did back to back.
Yeah,
that was the problem.
The double tap.
The bar of is this your tour or is it your girl's tour? That's when I thought, oh fuck.
No.
Like, that is.
And but again, was it on this album or is it on Views where he's popping at Tiger and he's so deadly when he aims, he's deadly, bro.
Yeah.
What is it he says? He said you need to actually gauge your age and not your girl's age.
Yeah,
to Tiger on 6 p.m. in New York.
That's a big factor of Tiger leaving.
Bro.
You know,
and now he's on OnlyFans.
You know.
He is on OnlyFans.
That's where you need to be.
I've heard, you know.
Yeah, you do.
But yeah, I thought the Meek Mill one, and also
killed him.
From what it came to, apparently weren't in a good headspace, Meek Mill at the time.
No, facts.
So, and I know
and they're boys now.
Yeah,
and when they have collaborated, by the way, I fucking think those tunes bad.
Yeah, also, because Drake said that Meek doesn't fucking act. He's a fucking G.
He's a real G, mate. He's a real G. He is. I've been seeing recently. He's been having a lot of problems where he's having the kind of problems that Gezz was having when he was making music in the UK and getting shows shut down and shit. And he's got a couple of like long shit cases against him where it's like him pulling wheelies on a quad bike and they've like shut down video shoots and shit because of it, and he can't perform shows. He is getting unfairly targeted. It's bullshit.
But obviously, I think in one of the concerts, Drake went on stage and kind of said free Meek Mill.
For sure, man.
That's kind of ended the beef. And
he actually is a big fan of him, and he's self-admittedly.
But then obviously, you know, him and Nicki go back like the tie, and he said it hasn't really been the same with Nicki.
No,
you know, but I think he kind of said like she handled it really well. She didn't. I think she went out on tour or said something like basically like I still have love for my boy. Yeah. So that's the first one. The second one with Pusha T.
Obviously, now this is obviously from the off.
We've spoken about this.
From the off, this is a much more evenly contested beef because
I love Pusha.
Because Meek Mill, as good as he is and as hype as he is, and as much as he puts on for Philadelphia, as much as Drake puts on for Toronto, he is not lyrically there. He's a shouter. He's okay. He's got some bars. He's got some doubles, but he's not there. Right, Drake's in a slightly higher conversation than that. Pusha is also. My problem with Pusha is that he can only rap about drugs or hurting people. Now, the only problem...
When he does it,
again, the same as Drake is the best at rapping about himself and bragging, Pusha is that equivalent about drug talk, right? He's the best at it, and fucking hell. And he can come for you. I think lyrically, this was a reasonably even battle. And I think it was won based on who had the most dirt.
Yeah, it was.
It was. And I think, like I say, Drake said whatever. Well, he didn't respond, did he?
No.
And then I think the reason why, he's pretty much said, what could I do to say, or I couldn't do any more damage than he said Drake's got a kid. You know what I mean? So like but the one thing that I don't really care about that. I think that's fuck it. You know the one thing I'm going to say, which I didn't like.
The 40 thing, no, because you spoke about it on the Josh Farm.
Yeah,
and we have spoke about that.
Yeah, well,
I know that there's so many levels to it because the whole argument was in war there's no rules, right? Now
he's gone for the jugular.
And I also know that the argument is that Drake brought up Pusha's girlfriend by name previously. Yeah. Now, my problem is there's levels within levels. That's not the same thing as essentially wishing someone dead. Well, like that is.
That's what I don't fuck with, man.
It's not. It wasn't. It was a step too far. However, I also understand that why the hip hop community would receive it, or some of the hip hop community would receive it as, it's not too far, there's no rules.
And if you're
so for me, I'm on the fence with it as much as I'm on your side.
And you wouldn't get that from a lot of rappers.
Over your side of the fence.
A lot of rappers would say that, but Pusha T is just he's come from
yeah,
more.
no, like,
That's the
yeah.
thing.
Like,
And do you honestly want my opinion on it? And a lot of people will say, this is just because you're a Drake fan and you're not as much a Pusha T fan. I think genuinely Pusha T didn't want to go there, and I think Pusha T at that stage saw it as, do you know what, Drake's no matter what happens here, Drake is going to come out on top, because numbers wise, I'm not going to damage him enough to stop him from becoming as big as he is going to become. But what I can do is say something so outrageous that my name will be boosted for a little while afterwards. And I feel like he just did the best he could.
Do you know what I think
himself.
is the mad thing? So I don't know if you know about this, that obviously Drake and Kanye live down the road from each other, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Literally.
Calabasas. Yeah.
So then obviously Drake said,
I thought it was Hills. No, Hidden Hills, right?
Is
that the same place? I honestly don't know my American geography.
So Drake would say, like, you know, I'd go around his house, we'd record music and that. And he said that I confided in him and said about this kind of situation. Obviously, Pusha T used it. And then there's always been that kind of, he felt that he wanted to recruit someone who had a hate for Drake.
Yeah.
And then in the Pusha T Joe Budden podcast, I believe, he basically said that the source wasn't Kanye, it was Noah. 40
that leaked it, yeah.
You know, and I don't know. I feel like
I don't know what to believe on that though.
I just feel like you said that thing about wishing. Like, I'm all about positivity. You know,
it's not.
Like, don't worry, it's kind of battle rapping, so you've got to go for it.
But then, if you're saying that to someone who, like me, who's a perfectly healthy human,
but when you say it to someone
who's the guy has literally got a terminal condition, like not terminal, but he's got a degrading, a chronic degrading condition.
Yeah,
bro, he's literally gonna die early. You don't need to wish it on him.
And then, do you know what I loved about it is how obviously this came out, and then the way Noah used it as a tool to make awareness about the disease. Yeah,
and in a way that helped, and I'm sure Pusha T. Pusha T will be claiming off the back of that. Oh, look how much it helped.
You know,
but yeah, agreed. Like, so just to touch on, I just wanted to touch on the Drake beef a little bit, because in Tuscan Leather, the first song we've chosen, that just happens to have those bars. And again, the only reason they annoyed me with Pusha T was because yes, they had the history with Lil Wayne. But at the time that the reason he got involved at this stage was because of the Kanye West and Drake tension. And you didn't need to do that. And that's why he says, jumped in front of a bullet you wasn't meant for. Because just, why are you getting involved in this? Like, why do you need to, this is between two people bigger than you.
Yeah.
Like,
then, just to move on, not move on, but Drake said that the worst thing about this was the whole Rick Ross situation.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's boys with Rick Ross, and we mentioned earlier how he loves Rick Ross and like the music he makes with him, and he was like, "Oh, this put me in a hard place."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, of course. And actually, I think they didn't work together for a little while after that, Drake and Rick Ross, and then they came back and did the was it Go Road? I can't remember the name of the tune, but they did the pack with Omerta and the other one that we talked about, Money in the Grave, that we talked about earlier.
Because I'm trying to think now, is Rick Ross boys with Meek Mill?
I wouldn't be surprised.
So it's Meek Mill, sorry, it's Meek Mill.
But also Rick Ross just doesn't really seem to have any haters in the game. He just seems to be quite well respected.
Yeah. But then, you know what, do you remember when Drake got chucked out of the nightclub for throwing a beer bottle at Chris Brown?
Yeah.
Then all the Rihanna stuff.
Yeah, and fair, because Drake was with Rihanna not long after that, right?
I don't know the exact of that. I know
that was probably.
I know that he got
chasing after that.
I think that he got thrown out of a nightclub in New York. But then obviously they made No Guidance, absolute banger, and then the video to it is brilliant.
And again,
we've spoken about this. We've said like, the bit that makes the video is the whole kind of it's that jokey comical theme of the battle with the dancing.
Yeah.
He started to do that a lot later in his career, didn't he?
You know,
Like, start to introduce those comical themes, like the video of Migos that he did for
Walking
Like a Talking.
Yeah.
And even Hotline Bling, you know, with him just fucking enjoying
He's
himself.
now
you know?
memeable, isn't he? He's
But
now
this
become
was
memeable.
it. He was one of the first people to also. He's a fucking pioneer in a lot of ways in just using little bits of modern culture and technology.
Mate, he
because
keeps his ear to the street.
He just
stays one step ahead of the game.
He was, for me, one of the first people who intentionally made themselves memeable.
Yeah.
Like, realised that,
Purposely
if I
made
can just
himself
be-
memeable.
Yeah.
I would love to know the stat on how many
I hate to think.
Instagram captions have his lyrics in.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Without a doubt. There was a time where it was just people having like, and even back in the day when it was like BBM and Drake was like early doors, it was Drake song lyrics.
Yeah.
Within the two little music, what are they called, like octave emojis. Just Drake song lyrics everywhere. All the time.
Like
Sweatpants hair tie chilling when I'm
mate,
was the most commonly used BBM status,
honestly.
I reckon.
I used to say it a lot to a lot of girls.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
You know?
There's no rules, Drew.
Then YOLO again. I'm not going to mention it, but yeah,
He's the boy, mate.
The marketing team is on point.
Oh,
You know?
Yeah, Oli El Khatib. I guess
Yeah.
Tuscan Leather, man, what a fucking tune. And like to open an album like this with a song where he just goes in over a beat for like 4 minutes. Amazing.
Yeah, nice. Class album. And then obviously we said that it's Toronto artist with the kind of
Cover.
the cover, but it's also it's similar to Lil Wayne's Carter 3 and then Biggie's Ready to Die.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the influence, you know. But yeah, let's just crank it up, I think, because
3 songs in a row
there's
then.
been some
Played
chat.
tracks,
So if someone could introduce them, that would be lovely.
Are we doing all 3?
All 3, man. Let's
All
roll.
3.
Let's roll.
The outro. So that's been Drake Part 1. First 4 projects. We will at some point get round to doing Part 2, starting with Nothing Was the Same, moving through More Life, moving through Views, More Life.
If you're reading this,
Dark Lane demo tape.
Care Package.
Talk a little bit about Care Package and the unreleased. But for now,
Content.
now, 3 songs of our choice. We hope you enjoy them, from Nothing Was the Same, Tuscan Leather, The Language and The Motion.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit sad that we haven't got Sampler involved, but you know.
Mate, Too Much was actually one of my choices. But again, if you said to me, we're going to choose 8 songs out of the first 4 projects,
it's impossible.
For me, 6 of them would have possibly come off of this
so
album.
it's the same with the Take Care
But
thing.
for you guys, 6 might have come off of Take Care.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at it.
Yeah. No, we found a middle ground, I think.
Of course you have to. You have to. And when you're talking about an artist of this calibre, the highest possible calibre,
It's hard to pick.
We're talking the Michael Jacksons of our generation. We're talking.
Yeah,
we are.
If you said to me, try and pick 8 songs from Michael Jackson's first 4 albums, I'll laugh at you.
You struggle.
Then that's
laugh
why
at you.
Kanye wanted to basically work with Drake, because he said, you are the Michael Jackson of this generation.
And it's one of the saddest things, bro, that they haven't been able to do it more often.
But they have done music together.
Oh, I know they've done it.
Yeah.
They have done it, but could you imagine if they had collaborated as much as, say, Jay-Z and Kanye have collaborated?
Yeah, but I think
And it actually come out.
I think it's probably due to artistic differences.
I would say
right?
differences in mentality.
Not artistic differences, business differences.
Yeah.
Because
Different
especially
goals.
again, we are going to introduce the song.
No, but
then,
Sampha.
with
Too much Sampha.
with the Chris Brown Drake, basically Drake said that when we produced No Guidance, it was kind of the first time I took the lead. Like, we did try and link up before and make music, but it weren't really possible.
Okay.
Like, there weren't a vibe there. So maybe that's what's happened with the whole Kanye situation. Who knows?
Possibly.
But I mean, obviously we've got these things, songs coming up next. I'm going to speak to you guys now. I've been told not to do this, but let's do it. So YouTube, you're watching it. Spotify, you have the songs included. We have the Twitter. For the Gezz FM app, the radio station, 24/7, hip hop and R&B. We have the Instagram just for those, little snippets. I hope you've enjoyed it. Obviously tonight I've got Drew, got Reese here. The 5th episode in the podcast series. I hope you've enjoyed it. Obviously this is the first time filming.
I've had a great time.
I feel like every time it has got better.
This is gonna feel weird knowing that I can watch myself back.
Mate, I'm gonna hate
Very
it,
strange.
honestly. I'm gonna
Might not watch
hate
it. Might not watch it.
I've got to edit it.
Yeah,
so that's the thing.
Don't look at the
I don't
camera.
actually know how to video edit at the moment. So,
at this very stage, you are seeing the earliest stages. Literally at this stage, Jerry's got to go away, use our very friendly contacts and YouTube to learn how to put this together. And like I say,
he was doing some clap thing before he had to do some clap. What was that about? What's the
So
clap?
basically-
I'm saying
the clap
testing
routine.
and shit for the first time.
Yeah, well,
it's all very, very raw.
I don't go into it. Yeah, but
No, quickly tell us about the clap.
So basically, because I've got the mics here and the camera footage there, I have to clap to be able to put the audio into the video for the sound waves. But yeah,
That's some music in a way.
We are mere pawns in this.
Yeah,
game.
so, but yeah, I'm learning every week. Every week is getting better. I'm making improvements. But
If you enjoy the chat, like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, share. I think
Let
I've
us know
always
what
said
you,
this.
Be honest, man. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like. We'll take stick.
I love every minute I've spent here, and that's why
I'm an
keep doing
emotional
it.
guy. I can't take stick.
So
You're gonna have to. YouTube's a brutal place, bro.
Yeah,
that
it
comment
can be,
section is
yeah.
a savage place.
No,
I'm
I'm ready for you.
I mean, next time I now know my camera angles. I know the setup. So I'm gonna actually have a bit of a shave and look a bit more.
You gotta make a little trailer as well, yeah.
Bro,
I'm making a trailer tomorrow.
if this is a weekly occurrence, don't expect me to be in anything more formal than joggers. That ain't happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pleasure. Obviously, cheers.
Oh, cheers.
We're gonna listen to the song.
Cheers, general
Actually, I
public.
do want to mention this. So people are like, Jez, what do you do in between the songs? And just so you guys know, so yeah, we talk about the songs, we say what's going to come up next, and then we actually
We're gonna
listen
have
to
a
the
listen,
songs
man.
Listen to it.
ourselves,
Of course we listen to the song.
enjoy it, come back, and then get prepared for
We
the
want to
next
have
bit.
the same experience that you guys are having.
And that's what it's about. And
course
you know,
we
obviously,
listen to the
I can't thank you enough.
Mate.
Liam doing the graphics and everything, fucking love you.
Look at this job.
Dicko doing the trailer. And every time,
sneak preview of that trailer is going to be coming up as well.
so
Big
it's
up
just
Dicko,
like I
learning
love
on
how
Pro Tools
everyone's
as
getting
well.
involved. You know, people messaging me saying, "Can I get involved?" It's going to come. It's early doors, man. I've gone from
You got a lot
radio
of-
station to video podcast in 2 months.
You got a lot of people to
Mate,
meet.
it was
a lot of
August the
stuff to hear.
14th. That
We were
I-
talking about work ethic earlier.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people to meet, a lot of stuff to hear, but let's get into the songs, man.
So yeah, let's get into it. All right, coming up next we have
Tuscan leather.
Tuscan Leather.
Don't test, wait.
Language.
Tuscan leather. The language.
And emotion,
Emotion.
boy.
Love
Finishing
it.
on emotion.
Right, enjoy it. Like, share, tweet, subscribe. Peace and love. Stay safe. This is Gezz FM and we're signing out. Cheers.
You're listening to the Jazz FM and Friends Late Night Show, the only place for hip hop discussion and general chit chat.
Jez was like, right, I'm going to ask you some questions on the podcast. And I was like, what?
The tunes you were playing was unbelievable.
For me, he's the greatest of all time for many reasons.
Can you
Why are
answer
you
this
doing
on the
this
spot?
to me? Why are you doing that to me, man?
Sorry, I've lost my cool now.